All right. Well, that's a bummer. It won't let me live stream on Twitter
Hmm.
because apparently you have to have a premium
Premium,
X account.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So we got a bunch of levels of that, but that's fine.
Yeah. What
But
anything.
no, here we are. Here we are on YouTube. And I
That
think
works.
we should be good. So yeah. Oh, there we go. I just had the live stream audio coming back through thing because I was checking it on YouTube. But yeah, here we are. All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Uncaped Crusaders review. I'm Mark,
I'm Ian.
and welcome to the Uncaped Crusaders review, as I already said. But yeah, this is a little bit different format. First time we've done the YouTube live stream. A little bit different, but figured we'd give it figured we'd give it a shot on the YouTube channel, which we haven't done a whole lot with because most of the time we just upload the podcast, of course, onto Spotify, which this will also be up on Spotify later. But Ian, how's it going, man?
It's good, man. It's been too long again. Yeah, this is a special occasion, unfortunately under the worst circumstances, but if anyone deserved us to roll out the red carpet, it's Mr. Kilmer.
Yes, it is 100%. We lost Val. We lost Val. Tuesday night, late Tuesday night, I think, is when that officially came out. And unfortunately, in my opinion, the greatest actor of all time has left us.
Certainly the most underrated.
I think that goes without saying. I mean, again, and I think that it's further proved with just how much the response has been from
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
Again, just nonstop on X. It's nothing but Val Kilmer love, and not just that, but Val Kilmer love. Like
yeah.
it is nothing but posting the best clips, posting the best quotes, the best memories, and it's just super exciting just to see that level of appreciation for Val Kilmer. Even if, and we talked about it earlier, even if it means it's a little frustrating seeing it just happen now, because we've been saying this for years that
Yeah.
we've been singing the praise of Val Kilmer for years and years and years, and it seems like just now people are kind of figuring out just how good he actually was.
Yeah, because it's crazy if you think about it. If it really wasn't for Top Gun Maverick, I kind of worry he would have kind of fallen into the depths of Hollywood, where you're like, oh yeah, that guy from like the '80s and '90s who was always really good. But obviously, him kind of coming back for Top Gun Maverick really kind of reminded everyone just what we were missing. Because obviously he just passed away, but he had had health problems with the throat cancer that really kind of ended his career much too early. And but now it's like everyone's realizing, oh yeah, he really was really one of the greats and should be up there with Brando and Olivier and all of them. So it has been nice to see people really kind of, like you say, reappreciate just how great he was and how influential he was to so many people without them knowing.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. Doesn't it, he's an interesting. To be honest, I think he might be one of, and it's hard to say that with actors, but he might be one of the more unique actors of all time,
Oh yeah,
where he equally fits in so many different categories, where he fits with the full on professional of professionals, method acting to the nth degree, like just masters of the craft. He also fits with popcorn movie leading man.
yeah,
He fits with superhero leading man. He fits with 80s comedy. He fits with ensemble cast. He fits with character actor. Like he's been in every single box that an actor
yeah.
could be in.
A true thespian, but also very much kind of can convey that common man relatability that is very important for like an action hero or just a big level star to have. But yeah, can just unlike a little bit. Oh, I won't say unlike, but definitely even more so than Tom Cruise, can just turn in these what should be Academy Award winning performances, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I just kind of had this thought. Like, do you think that that hurt his career more so maybe than helped it because there was no box he fit in because he did all of it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I know we've talked about this with sometimes the roles he did take and how they kind of each played a part in the trajectory of his career. But, yeah, I don't know, because sometimes you wonder if because they're like, they're athletes who never won a championship, like, Charles Barkley, but in a way, the fact that they never won that highest award kinda makes them this underdog, even though they're amazing, and, whereas, like, once you hit that, best actor and you have that on your resume, it's kinda like, I don't know, it's a different story, so the fact that he never got anything like that kinda makes him underappreciated and kind of more valuable and unique.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, but I did just have that thought of maybe is because he just fit into so many different categories that it kind of hurt his career a little bit. And
Yeah.
I, because he was, and I think part of it's also, I think it's not just that he didn't fit in, but also he didn't want to fit in to any
Yeah.
one of those particular things.
For sure.
Again, and we'll talk about it again. We don't have any structure for this whatsoever. It's just Val
Yeah,
Kilmer appreciation.
two
Um,
fanboys.
but I think one of the more interesting things, and I don't remember if I saw this somewhere else, if someone else mentioned it, or if he mentioned it maybe in his book. I don't recall exactly, but in 95, he's Batman, and then he signs on to do Heat.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, I think, I don't remember if it was according to him or someone else. Heat really derailed his career quite significantly, actually. And the reason why is because at the time, he was top star leading man that he had gotten to that point. By the time he was Batman, he was top star, top bill leading man. And right then, he immediately goes to play third fiddle to Pacino and De Niro in Heat. And I think it, like, perception wise, again, if you want to go to a movie example, go to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Al Pacino's explaining it to Leonardo DiCaprio. It's
Mm.
kind of that. It kind of was that situation where, because after that, he didn't really do that. I mean, he didn't. I don't. Did he star in another major blockbuster after that?
Yeah. So it's kinda weird. I didn't
Because he
I
he was
definitely
in The Saint. The Saint was kind of the next big thing.
The Saint, The Ghost in the Darkness, what came out immediately after Heat, which probably I think hurt him more was The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, that
Um,
was right around that time. Yeah.
because also I wanted to pick your brain about this. He has developed this kind of reputation of being difficult to work with or
Right.
really kind of, according to some people, just, like, rude almost.
Mm-hmm.
Which I always it never quite sat well with me because when you hear all the stories from his co-stars and whatnot, they have nothing but, like, praise, and, like, you see, like, we've seen all these, like, text exchanges and messages. He's very sarcastic, and he's
Yeah.
hilarious too, if you don't know. And, like, it never quite like, he never came off as, like, your typical, "Oh, well, he's so brilliant. He is kind of like a jerk," but I've always wondered that, when people say an actor is difficult to work with, usually it's other reasons. I mean, we know for a fact that was what Weinstein would do with actresses who refused him. He would just then turn around and be like, "Oh, no, you don't wanna work with them." They're difficult to
Right.
work with. But then other actors who are still getting mainstream work today are known to be 1,000 times worse, and that doesn't derail them. So it's always curious as to why that kind of rumor sticks with some people. And it usually comes down to he probably just pissed off one person that he shouldn't have.
I
Because I
think.
think during the Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying. I think it was less the other actors. I think it was more directors and
Yeah.
producers
But then
because
you look at the island of Dr. Moreau, and that was a complete catastrophe and just
yeah,
chaos, and I think he was also going through a divorce at the time. So you can imagine, you get there, it's pandemonium, you're already angry, you don't wanna do this stupid movie, your director's a nut job,
Well,
And then people
no,
are like, oh, oh,
it
difficult
goes
to work with.
further than that.
Oh yeah,
Because for that movie specifically, his big thing was working with Marlon Brando. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
basically the reason he did the movie.
right.
And
Always
then
wanted to.
the whole thing just devolved. The director got fired. I don't remember if the director got fired or not on
Yeah, he
that
got
one.
fired. He got fired, but then he stayed around, like,
Yeah.
infiltrating the set. It's one of the craziest productions ever.
I can't believe that we haven't had a Hearts of Darkness about the island of Dr. Moreau yet.
We've
Because,
had a couple, yeah, there's a couple of great documentaries about it. It's crazy. And
yeah,
so again, it's like all this stuff is going on, and again, you're going through divorce. Yeah,
yeah.
you're gonna be angry. You're gonna be like, "Ah, get away from me."
Well,
And so,
and
yeah,
even aside from that stuff, it's just, it's just the whole thing of what they're sitting there like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are
exactly.
we doing? And apparently Brando at first was a
Oh
part of
god.
everything, and then every time he was doing anything, it was just getting shut down to the point where you're just like, fine, done, and
Yeah,
checked
and then
out, and isn't even in half the movie.
oh yeah,
They
just
have a
became
stand-in for him for a lot of scenes, and you can see some of that behind the scenes stuff on the Amazon Val documentary, which is just outstanding. I
yeah,
watched it again yesterday,
yeah, I need
and
to.
there's because he shot so much home video himself
Yeah.
on movie sets, so there's a bunch of that for that movie, and there's literally a scene where it's a stand-in for Brando, and they're all like, well, where's Marlon? I guess he's not working today because that's
Yep.
not Marlon. So that's a good point, going back to kind of the downfall of Val as a leading man. Yeah, I definitely think that had something to do with it, but even that movie, there was Brando in it, and even
Yeah,
Ghost in the Darkness, there was Michael Douglas in it.
Douglas,
The
yeah.
the Saint is the only other one that was all a complete, Val Kilmer vehicle, and
And
which
that
is the whole
flopped.
reason he turned down Batman again, because he'd been
Yeah.
developing that for a couple years. And that was really a passion project movie for him, which, to be honest, I wish I liked more. I like
This
The Saint is a movie I want to like more. And every
I
time
love
I've
it.
rewatched it, it it just is missing something for me. I think I like it, but I don't know what it is. There's something about it where I'm like, something's missing. There's some sort of hook missing in it.
Yeah, I love it, and I wonder too, I wonder if because that The Saint, massively underperformed at the box
Yeah, it
office.
did.
So I wonder if it was kind of like a 1-2 of he had pissed off too many people,
Mhm.
either on the island of Dr. Moreau or, the studios, and then once his next big solo project flopped, because if you look at his IMDb, I mean, it's really the turn of the century is where his career just dries up, because after
Yep.
Prince of Egypt, it's pretty much small stuff other than like, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Which
Um,
that was several years after, but yeah.
yeah, and that was almost even kind of like a small little comeback in a lot of ways.
It was,
Um,
another factor in that around that time period is that was for the first, I don't remember if it was the first or second time he basically lost everything.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think this was the first time
Yeah,
because he basically he co-signed a bunch of stuff with his dad, and then all of it was shady and went like disappeared, and so he basically had to sell everything.
yeah.
I think that was this time period.
I
Um,
think you're right too. I think the
because
second
I
time
think
was
the second
the
time was 2008,
real
like
estate. Yeah,
when
real estate crash.
the market crashed.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's another factor. And with when you look and see just how many movies he was in after
yep.
2000, I mean, each year it's like, let's see, 2003 he was in 2, 3, 4.
Or
2004 he was in 5. Uh, and then it kind of eased up a little bit too, but back to 2005 he was only in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Then 2006 he's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies,
yeah,
and it's kind of like that the rest of the way. And then 2008 is when it crashed, and he's in a ton of movies in 2008, ton in 2009, ton in 2010, a bunch in 2011 and 12. Pretty much all the way until his throat cancer. He's in a
Yeah.
ton of movies per year. And again, most of these are very small, almost
Oh yeah.
cameo roles.
Yeah.
But, even still, he had to be in just a ton of things, like just
Yeah.
making money. Again, you see it with it happened when,
Oh
it's
god,
happened
yeah.
with Nick Cage famously.
Bruce
But
Willis. Yeah.
um of course, yeah, so and that doesn't help at that's gonna affect your box office as well.
Oh yeah.
Some of that
Because
stuff. But
you're because in the industry, you're looked down as soon as you start taking those roles. It's really kind of nasty where it's like as soon as you need money and you need work, it's like, oh, you're desperate. And it's like,
mhm.
I mean, like, yeah, but that happened with Adrian Brody, where he's kind of weird, where he would do these, red box movies, and then he just won Best Actor this year for, the Oscars, and it's like for him, he was like, yeah, it's weird to go back and forth where sometimes I need the money because not every movie you're going to do, unless you're DiCaprio or some of these actors, is going to be a big Hollywood blockbuster, with a prime director. Is like a lot of times you have to do stuff just for work, pay the
Yeah.
bills, but it's really looked down upon, which is really dumb.
Well, it's only looked down upon if you're a star in things.
Sure, yeah, if you were once, at the height he was at too,
If you're a
it's
character actor, bit actor, something like that, then
sure,
it's not.
sure.
But if you're a star, it definitely is. But if you even think about just the discography or filmography of Val Kilmer, he's not he's not the star in a whole lot of movies. And if
I,
he is, it's a co-star in a vast majority of them. To be honest, it's kind of surprising when you look at it. Like he really only had like as a top leading man, it was basically Batman, to
well,
be perfectly honest.
can I be a little conspiratorial?
Sure.
I wonder too if what hurt him is the fact that he was always, like you said, very rarely being the lead himself, but what was he always doing? Stealing the show. And
Yeah.
I wonder if that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because, I mean, we talk about Heat. I was thinking about this because I was hearing someone talk about The Irishman, with Pacino and De Niro, and everyone talks about how it was really a dumb move not to get younger actors to play these senior,
Right.
actors when they're in their 20s and 30s.
Geriatrics playing a
Geriatric,
20-year-old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they were talking about part of the reasons because this was their big swan song, so they couldn't have any young buck showing up, especially if, like, it's their first movie, and
Yeah.
people go, "Holy crap, that guy who's playing De Niro's just like him." So I wonder if,
Imagine if
because he
Brando
steals
did that for Godfather too.
exactly, yeah. So I wonder if the fact that he stole the show in Tombstone and with this giant cast and Heat was other giant cast and I mean just repeatedly stole the show. I wonder if that pissed off a lot of people off too.
That's a good point. You could be
I mean,
right. You could be onto
e
something for that.
egos are fragile in Hollywood. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct as far as the ego thing
Because I
goes.
mean, it clearly looks like the industry hated him. I mean, not a single nomination, nothing for Tombstone, nothing for The Doors. Like, come on.
Yeah, which is still just baffling. Although I will say, in defense of the Doors, it was that was the wrong time.
Mhm.
That wasn't done. There weren't biopics really at the time, and the ones that were very very much looked down on. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't realize that nowadays because
they're common
nowadays they're
practice
very much
now.
celebrated and it's a
Oh
big
yeah,
acting achievement, but at the time it was not. It was
yeah, that's
considered
true.
like lesser. It's the whole academy thing, like, Star Wars and all those things not nominate, not winning best picture, like that whole thing, like the whole
Yeah,
fantasy
horror
action
movies.
thing.
Yeah,
Well, it was very much like that.
yeah,
And
that's true.
so if the Doors came out, in 2010,
Oh
he
God,
wins the Oscar for it.
easily. I
But
mean,
it
if stupid Rami Malek can win it for Queen, I
Right,
mean, come on.
exactly. Like, so I think that unfortunately was a little bit less of a actual snub and more of just the time period,
Sure.
unfortunately. I mean, I still think it was, but like I can get that. I don't understand Tombstone at all.
No,
That
nobody does.
that that
Clint
one doesn't
Eastwood
make any
doesn't.
sense.
No,
Well, Clint Eastwood, Chuck Norris wrote a whole
Yep.
article about it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm pretty sure he wrote a whole article years ago about Kilmer not winning the
I think Heston too. I think pretty much
thing.
every leading
Well,
Western
Heston
actor
would
is like,
know. He had firsthand account of that. He was in it.
Absolutely, yeah,
But yeah, there's not a ton of Kilmer as the only lead in movies. There's really not a lot of that.
yeah.
You have, let's see, you have Top Secret, Real Genius, The Doors, Thunderheart, The Real McCoy, Batman, maybe The Island of Dr. Moreau, even though Brando's in it.
Well, and even
Uh,
Batman, you could argue Jim Carrey was really marketed more as the star.
True, yeah, but he was Batman, so I'll
Oh
put
God, yeah,
that
yeah.
as
No,
that. The Saint, At First Sight, Red Planet, although even that had a handful of people in it.
Salton Sea for
Salton
sure.
Sea, Wonderland, Blind Horizon, Spartan, and after that, I don't think there's any. I think everything
Uh,
after that, he's a co-star. Most
yeah,
of the like direct-to-video movies and stuff, it's a co-star with a
yeah.
lesser star, a lesser actor. But there's not many more. Uh, because even Ghost in the Darkness is him and Michael Douglas. He is the main character
Right.
for sure, but
Yeah.
it's still kind of a co-star almost. Uh, Even Thunderheart a little bit has some of that. Kill Me Again, I guess he's the main character in that. I think it's with Matthew. Is that Matthew Marsden? The other person in that movie.
I think so.
I saw that. That movie was really hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, credit. You've probably seen more Val Kilmer movies than most human beings on Earth.
That movie was super hard to find.
Yeah, some of these are barely.
Yeah, Michael Madsen's in that movie. I was right. Oh, and that's one of the ones he did with his wife. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Yeah, because I was right. Because they did Willow and then Kill Me Again, and
oh,
then
that's
they were
right. He was
married
married
around
to
that
the
time.
chick from Willow. Yeah, I forgot about
hmm
that.
But yeah, there's not a lot. But I want to go back. I want to go back a little bit before we get too far on that. I want to go back and just talk about the start of Val Kilmer's career because Ian, has there ever been someone who has hit harder and faster in their career than Val Kilmer? He literally goes
Oh,
Top Secret, Real Genius, Top Gun.
yeah, come on.
Insane. That's insane. First three movies, the only thing in there was an after school special. Like he
Right.
literally goes Top Secret, Real Genius, Top Gun. I mean, bang, bang, bang.
I mean,
No, who else has done that? Tom
well, and,
Cruise
and
didn't have a run even like that.
no, because even in those three movies, look at the range. You go from full on slapstick comedy to like 80s. I don't even know what you would call real genius. I mean, definitely a
That
comedy, but
that's just an 80s teen comedy.
yeah. But then going to one of the coolest mother effers ever in Top
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah,
Like,
and
come
I
on.
think he's in like what 15 minutes of that movie, something like that.
Not a lot. Not a
He's
lot.
not in the movie very much, and nobody remembers that because
No,
of
but
because of the
everybody remembers
presence of
Iceman.
him.
Yeah, because
Right.
Iceman's the coolest dude ever.
He's a freaking antagonist of the movie.
And you root for him more.
That's kind of true. Yeah, that is
I
kind of
do.
true. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, everybody loves Maverick, but come on, Iceman. I mean, there's a reason Iceman was the top of his class.
Yeah, there's a reason why Iceman won.
Yeah.
Kicked the ever living shit out of Maverick.
Uh,
Like it wasn't even close.
nah, man.
And also another thing, we can just talk about Top Gun for the next 45 minutes, but he has the most badass part in that entire movie. He freaking holds off 5 bogeys single-handedly for like half an hour before Maverick gets his butt in gear.
Yep. Yeah, we're waiting for
People
Maverick
forget
to have
about
his
that. That's the most
character arc.
badass thing in the entire movie.
Heck yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, what just a 1, 2, 3 punch of just basically perfection to start off a career.
I mean,
And
already
then
iconic at that point, pretty much.
oh yeah. Yeah,
An 80s
easily.
icon already.
Easily. And then, there's a handful of TV stuff he did, but then it goes right into Willow, which was
Mad
huge,
Mardigan. Yeah. One
which
of my
I'm not
favorites.
the biggest fan of Willow as a movie. I think it's good, but it's not one that I watch like a ton, but he's
Oh, I love it.
phenomenal in it.
He's great. Mad Mardigan, come on.
Yeah, he's the best part of the movie by far. Uh,
Oh, man.
and then Kill Me Again didn't do anything. That's not a great movie.
Yeah.
But then it goes into The Doors.
Yeah.
Thunderheart is great. I need to rewatch Thunderheart. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that in a bit.
same.
That's a great movie. And then Real McCoy's bad. It's bad. Not
I
good.
haven't seen
It's
it.
him and Kim Basinger.
Oh, boy.
And it's yeah, it's not great. It's one of the most frustrating Georgia movies I've ever seen.
Georgia movies.
Yeah, it takes place in Georgia. The whole
Oh, okay.
movie takes place in Atlanta. Which Kim Basinger is from Athens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's from Athens, Georgia. My granddad was friends with her dad.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. So my granddad's from Athens also, so he knew Kim Basinger, like way back. And so the Real McCoy is actually set in Georgia, which is interesting. And it's like Baby Driver, where every single character has like the worst accents, and you're like, and
Oh,
this is
dear.
in Atlanta, and you're like, okay, clearly you people have never been to Atlanta before.
No.
That's like my one. I have two problems with Baby Driver, and that's one of them. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
good grief, every single person in the post office is white, and everyone has a Southern accent. And you're like, you guys have
Yeah.
clearly never been to Atlanta before.
I
There ain't
know,
one
right?
white person working in a single post office in the greater Atlanta
In a
area.
government building, get out of here.
Oh
No. It's
gosh,
unheard of.
you wouldn't be allowed to. But
God, no.
yeah, so that's the Real McCoy's not great. But then he does Tombstone.
Friggin'
That came
tombstone.
out the same year. And in that, he also plays Elvis in True Romance, which I forgot about, which is
Yeah.
great. Even though
Yep.
he's not even seen, still crushes it, which you knew he could because he's doing that in Top Secret.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, after that, it's really hit or miss with if I've seen it or not.
Same. Yeah.
Batman Forever, Heat, bangers. Uh, Island of Dr. Moreau,
Weird.
yeah.
Not his
Which
fault, of
is a
course.
shame because, to be honest, that's a great story and
Oh, yeah. It
could
could
have
have been
been
great.
really good. Really missed opportunity. Ghost in the Darkness is awesome. I rewatched
Love it.
that not too long ago.
Always good.
That is a
Yeah.
great movie. The
Absolutely.
Saints, good. Prince of Egypt, I would argue, might be
Mask.
the best animated movie of all time.
You'll hear no argument from me.
I pretty much believe that. Like
I mean,
I think it's probably the greatest ever animated movie.
when atheists watch it and even they're crying, you know it's good.
It's so good, man. That's such a great movie. And yeah, he only plays the voices of Moses and God. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty solid there. At First Sight is not great. It's okay. I will
Okay.
say, if we're talking about At First Sight, it's a character he plays a blind character.
Hmm.
But there is and he's blind from birth. There is a moment, the whole thing is like there's a doctor has like found a procedure that can like potentially cure blindness. And so one of the parts in the movie, he does that with Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's character, and the scene where he like can see for the first time is pretty horrifying, to be honest,
Hmm.
because I mean, he doesn't know what anything is. I
I
mean,
can imagine.
imagine if someone who'd never seen before then can see. So it's like a horror movie scene almost, which is
Hmm.
pretty cool, and it's just something I never thought about before.
No, no.
So that I thought that's the only thing that was memorable really about that movie.
So he was good
Uh
in it.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's
Yeah, no.
always good.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Red Planet, I know I've seen. I don't remember anything from that movie. I
Yeah.
know I watched it, and I know it wasn't very good, which is a shame because I was like, Val Kilmer and John Carpenter, I'm in.
John Carpenter has some misses.
Yes, he does, and this is one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Salt and Sea, mm, might be his most underrated role
So,
ever.
yeah, it was. I saw a Nerdrotic showing that some love.
Oh, really? Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Salton
he
Sea is
he gave a shout
phenomenal.
out. Yeah,
It's
I'm
great.
glad you put me onto that.
I've loved this movie for years. Um,
It's a
I
good
mean,
find.
he literally plays like a CI, and
He's
it's
like
very
he's like Russ Cole before True Detective almost.
yeah, kind of. Except he's not a cop, but
No.
he's trying to find the guy who killed his wife, and so he basically just goes deep undercover as a CI and becomes an actual tweaker. And so it's him living just as a tweaker, trying to figure out uh, who had killed his wife. And the whole thing with him being a trumpet player, that thing's kind of weird.
That's
Um,
probably his
that feels very Val Kilmer
yeah.
y. Again, like the Doors is the most Val Kilmer role that's ever existed.
Oh yeah.
Is him as Jim Morrison in the Doors is Val Kilmer to a T. Uh, Pretty much like the real Val Kilmer. Pretty
Yep.
close. But
Full
Salton Sea
method.
is great. And also Vincent D'Onofrio steals that freaking movie. Uh,
Yeah. Some
he's
good talent.
phenomenal in that. That's a great movie. Hard Cash I still haven't watched yet with Christian
Haven't
Slater.
either. Yeah.
Don't think it's very good. Wonderland I watched. I have. I don't remember one thing from that movie. He plays a porn star. That's all I remember.
Oh. Yeah, haven't seen that one.
I remember it was okay, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. Go down a few lists. The next really good one is Spartan.
Is that
Spartan,
good?
very underrated movie.
I need to check
It's
that
like
out.
Man on Fire with Val Kilmer,
Yeah, I've seen that one gain a lot of praise since he passed away. There's some cool stories. Basically
which
like
there's
the
a reason. And I
oh yeah?
would say Salton Sea and Spartan are his two best movies by far. In
Mm,
between, you know, the Saint, Prince of Egypt, Ghost in Darkness. Basically since the turn of the millennium, it's Salton Sea and Spartan, and that's pretty much it of
yeah.
note, I would say, until Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Like
He
proper worthy roles for him.
yeah. He's good in Alexander, but that movie is just
Oh
awful.
yeah. It's a mess.
Which it shouldn't be, because apparently, did you watch the history buffs on Alexander?
I have, yeah. It's very accurate.
It's incredibly accurate, but guess what? It's
But
boring.
but that's what happens. That's why movies like Gladiator and Braveheart are much better movies because
Yeah.
yeah, usually historically, especially
Tombstone.
Alexander the Great, yeah, usually the real story kind of ends very climactically or anticlimactically, and you have to kind
Hmm.
of take your justices or
Again, another thing, a difference between Tombstone and Wyatt Earp.
yep,
I think
absolutely.
Wyatt Earp, I think, is considered the slightly more accurate movie. Um,
Yeah, I've always heard.
but it's boring.
Yeah, and
And
Tombstone's maybe
Tombstone
the
is
most
perfect.
quotable movie of all time.
Yes. It's definitely one of them.
It's one of them.
Definitely
Come
one
on,
of them for sure. But then he goes into Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is one of the greatest movies ever made, and somehow
absolutely.
bombed. Don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that movie bombed.
Well, so did the
I
Nice
guess just
Guys, and
it's Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. who both were non-factors at the time, and
yeah, definitely in bad points in their careers.
which is a shame, man, because that's
Because you
about
watch them, yeah, they're amazing.
it's about a perfect movie. Like
Oh my
like
god!
it's pretty
Look,
much a perfect movie.
the Nice Guys is great too, but Kiss
It
Kiss
is.
Bang Bang runs circles around the Nice Guys.
I I I don't know if I'd say run circles, but it's definitely better. It's
It's got way
definitely
more
better.
going on.
Uh, Gosh, that is such that's a movie I rewatch every Christmas. Also,
Absolutely,
that and Lethal Weapon. You can watch most Shane Black movies for Christmas.
that's true. They're
Um,
usually set in Christmas.
yeah. After that, Deja Vu, I was disappointed in. I'm surprised that has as high of rating as it does. I didn't like it that much.
People love Tony Scott and
I
Denzel together, but
Which again, Tony Scott, Denzel, Val Kilmer should be perfect. And I
yeah,
remember, like, I don't remember anything from that movie. I know I've seen it.
Jim
Couldn't tell you.
Caviezel's in it.
Jim Caviezel, good grief, that movie that makes me even more mad. See, I don't remember anything from that movie, and I feel like I should. That seems like a non-miss, like a can't miss.
Yeah, you would
Gosh,
think.
how did that not work?
Yeah,
That's a bummer. That's a bummer. But
it's fine.
yeah, it's not great. Um,
After that, yeah.
but then after that, it's pretty much all straight to video stuff. that he was doing
Except
at this time.
MacGruber.
That's true. I forgot about MacGruber.
We gotta talk about MacGruber at some point.
I would have to watch it again. It's
I watched it
I
not
don't
too
remember
long ago.
anything from that. I haven't seen that in decades. I need to watch. I
It's
would need to watch it
oh,
again.
you should rewatch it because as expected, he's hilarious
Well, of course.
and steals the show.
Which, if I remember, he's kind of like he kind of has a role similar to like Tom Cruise in like Tropic Thunder, where he's just in it. He's only in it for like a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's the villain though. He's like
Okay,
Doctor
yeah,
Evil
yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, he's not in it much. But oh my god, does he have some of the funniest lines?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. Which is fair. That's definitely one I gotta rewatch for sure.
Oh, you should. Yeah.
Yeah, and then a handful of these didn't. I haven't seen a ton of them. I haven't seen really any until you get up to. Let's see. Oh, where's the one that I hate? There's one that was awful.
Oh, he was in
Mine
the
Hunters.
Snowman.
Mine Hunters. Oh, we're going all the way back to 2004. That movie, horrible. Huge disappointment. He's not even in it. He's the main person on the poster. He's in like 2 scenes
Oh wow.
and dies at some point
Ah.
off screen. It's awful. It's all LL Cool J.
Oh
It's
god.
LL Cool J and shoot, who is the other person who's actually the lead? Oh gosh. Christian Slater. Yeah, it's LL Cool
Oh
J and
god.
Christian Slater. Val Kilmer's a top bill and he's in like 2 scenes.
I
Real
always felt like
disappointing.
I always felt like Christian Slater wanted to be Val Kilmer.
Well, yeah. Well, to want to be Val Kilmer, you probably should have acting talent first.
Oh, hot take from Mark.
I could Christian
I've,
Slater
I've,
just
I've never
eh,
liked him, but yeah,
he's just not he doesn't really do much.
nah,
Uh
I never really cared for him.
okay, Bad Lieutenant is pretty fun.
Oh yeah, with Nicolas Cage.
Bad Lieutenant is pretty fun. Nicolas Cage and Val Kilmer. That movie's actually that's a good time. That's a good
That's a
time.
that was a Herzog, right? Werner Herzog.
I believe so, yeah.
Oh yeah, you
And
know
oh boy
you're in
is
for a
it.
treat.
Yeah. Let's see. Kill the Irishman was boring. I'm surprised that has as high of ratings as it does. Wasn't
Yeah,
a
it wasn't
huge
that great.
fan.
No,
Thought it should have been better.
Ray Stevenson, R.I.P. too. Gosh,
Oh yeah. See, yeah. Ray Stevenson and Val Kilmer. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a banger. Mob movie? Nope. Boring.
nah.
The Traveler, horrible. Not good.
Mm.
Did watch that. Sadly. I've seen more of these than I would like to admit, I think.
I know you have.
Song to Song, he's not even in that movie. False advertising. He literally is like on stage performing. I don't know why, and then leaves. He's in it for like 3 seconds. So that's false advertising. Him in the final episode of Psych, banger.
Yeah, awesome.
Fantastic. Absolutely incredible. Love it. Yeah, and then after that, not a whole lot. I am still frustrated that there still hasn't been a proper release of his Mark Twain show because
Yeah, I know, right?
they made a movie. Like it exists. A movie exists called Cinema Twain of a performance. And after his throat, this came out years after his throat cancer hit. And so what he would do is he would tour the movie around,
Hmm.
instead because he obviously couldn't perform. And it's never been released.
Well, hopefully now they will.
Gosh, I hope so because I really want to see that because I had tickets to see his Citizen Twain show through, I think, less than a week before he was hospitalized.
Oh wow.
The show, because he was in, his last show was in Nashville. And I think it was either the next show or the one either a show or two next was me and my dad had tickets for
Oh
when he was
man.
in Atlanta. He was coming to Atlanta, and then it was literally days after his his emergency, like he went to the hospital.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is I'm still bummed about because it was it's so frustrating. Like it was that close. I was like a week away from seeing him perform live, and then didn't get to.
Ah,
Didn't get
that would have
to.
been awesome.
I know. I know. I was so bummed about it. But yeah, and then after that, he's in a couple things after he couldn't talk. Uh, but not, obviously didn't do really much after that, because what can you do? Until, of course, Top Gun Maverick, where
Yeah, and that just felt like a really perfect, I mean, almost kind of eerie send off because I'm sure you heard like I never realized when the movie at his funeral in the movie his actual kids are in the crowd.
yeah, I didn't know that either until I just
Yeah.
saw that pop up. I did not know
And
that.
people, yeah, so people were saying that, like it was basically a rehearsal for his real funeral, and so there's some kind of closure for him that's really interesting.
That's kind of creepy. I don't know if
It
I would have
is.
wanted that.
But apparently that's how he was. I mean, like he talked about like in his documentary and stuff. It's like he didn't
Yeah.
believe in death. He was a
Yeah.
very kind of cavalier attitude, and obviously you saw that with how he lived his life.
Yeah, which is yeah, which is very true. Which from that standpoint definitely makes sense. But yeah, Ian, I just want to talk about Val Kilmer roles.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the
I
roles
really
that
want to. I
let's
wanna
do it.
I want to go back to Val Kilmer roles, and I want to start with Top Secret
Okay,
because
it's the first.
I rewatched that again. What do you mean a first?
Well, no, the first.
Oh, the first. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It was, like basically fresh out of Juilliard, and he does to Sucker Brothers Top Secret, which is still just funny. And I rewatched that last night, um, because I watched it like 1 in the morning, and my wife wasn't home because that's one of the movies. Or well, she was home. She was already in bed. That's one of the movies she can't stand.
Really?
My wife's great. She has a few flaws, and that's one of them. She does not like
Ah,
the Zucker Brothers movies.
ah,
She hated Airplane. She
ah.
hated Top Secret. She couldn't get through Top Secret. She walked out of Top Secret, which is the
No
first time I've ever
kidding.
seen her do that. Yeah, right when they went into the prop room, that was when she'd had enough.
Oh my
She
god.
she doesn't do that type of humor. She just
A lot of people don't.
which is a shame. And the other thing, she's not a Chevy Chase fan.
Oh
She
boy.
couldn't do. She did not enjoy Fletch, which big red flags. I'm surprised I married her, to be honest. After that,
That is surprising.
but she doesn't like that type of humor. The like wit, banter humor, and like the
No kidding.
visual like gags. She just. I
Oh,
think
such
she
a
was
lost art
okay.
form.
She didn't mind the Naked Gun as much. Um,
Okay.
that one she didn't mind as much, but she did not like Airplane or Top Secret, which is a shame. So
Wow.
anyway, I watched that myself, and it was funny because while I was watching that, I get a text from my dad at like 1 in the morning of just a screenshot of uh the the marquee at the beginning of Top Secret where it's Nick Rivers and I forgot the special guest like Linda Ronstadt and someone else are like billed below him, and then if time if time allows, Frank Sinatra. That's like the marquee. And so he was actually watching at the exact same time last night, which was funny. But
No
I was like,
kidding.
I'm gonna go back and watch the first one. Let's watch the first one, and then I'm gonna watch Real Genius again tonight.
Oh,
I
sure.
just got the 4K of that, and I
Oh,
finally got a
nice.
4K player.
Oh, wow. He made the upgrade.
Yeah, I finally did that. I only have like two 4K movies, but one of them is Real Genius. So
Of course.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch that in 4K for the first time.
Oh, that looked good.
But Top Secret. Honestly, I would say Top Secret. I think is a better movie than Airplane.
Yeah, I would
I'm just
say,
saying. Airplane's great. Love
yeah, yeah.
Airplane. All time classic.
I
Phenomenal.
would say Airplane has
I
like
think Top
the
Secret's clever.
yeah, I would say Airplane has like the more iconic jokes, but I think
It
Top
does.
Secret has way more just good jokes all around.
Well,
Like more,
actually, I would say the only thing Airplane has Leslie Nielsen. That's what Airplane
yeah,
has.
yeah.
Airplane has Leslie Nielsen.
And
Um,
what's his name as the pilot? He's great
he
before he
yeah,
dies.
yeah, he is for sure.
You ever
But
seen a grown man naked?
we're talking about Top Secret.
Sorry.
We can't go into Airplane. That would be a whole
No,
other
no, no.
hour.
Yeah.
Um, pick the wrong time to quit sniffing glue. But that's the way I felt yesterday. Val Kilmer lost and the Braves lost for the seventh time in a row. But
Oh boy.
uh, but no, Top Secret is one of those movies. It might have, because that's another movie that bombed. Um,
Of course, yeah.
and to be fair, a lot of it's the marketing team. The
Yeah.
marketing was horrendous for Top Secret. It
Mm,
was so bad. The poster's terrible. The
yeah.
trailer is awful. Um, it's not. It was not marketed well, which is
No.
a surprise. You'd think after Airplane that they would have figured out, which they did figure it out again for Naked Gun, of course.
Of course.
But it's one of those movies. It's almost too dense.
Yep.
Like there's so many jokes. I mean, there's like 4 jokes per second in that
Layered
movie,
on top of each other in one joke. Yeah.
which makes it one of the best rewatchable movies ever because
Exactly.
you can
Yeah.
constantly find new stuff for that. I spent this whole like the whole day, I've just been saying latrine in my head, like over and over. Makes
Uh,
me laugh every time. But but he's phenomenal in that movie.
oh my God. Yeah.
He fits right in. Like he can play that comedic role perfectly, even though he's young, kind of snotty
Juilliard.
kid
Yeah.
from Juilliard who kind
Yeah.
of thinks he's doing something beneath him and
Exactly.
still kills it.
Yeah. Still puts like all this effort. He doesn't look down on a role like this, and it's really interesting that this is his first. Yeah, because you would think coming out of Juilliard, you'd want something highbrow or sophisticated. It's like nope. You go for a slapstick,
But
crazy
I would
comedy.
argue if he wasn't that good, it wouldn't work because
I
that's a
agree.
really hard role to play,
Oh, okay,
especially
yeah.
right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can tell, like, when people do comedy who don't have the chops for it, it's disastrous.
Yeah, yes, it is. It very much is. But after that, he goes right into Real Genius, which, in my opinion, is the most underrated movie that's ever been made.
I didn't really know about it until you put me onto it, like, my
Real
dad never.
Genius is after Back to the Future. Real Genius is my favorite movie of all time, and it's just perfect. Everything about it is perfect. Chris Knight, Val Kilmer's character of Chris Knight, is my favorite movie character. Period.
He's one of the
That exists.
coolest characters ever.
It is everything I love in a character. It's just straight wit, just straight wit with an IQ of 1,000. I mean, that's what the character is. It's the character who's smarter than everybody, knows it, and knows they can just act however they want. Which in real life is an annoying character, but in a movie, it's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
man,
he's, like, cooler than Ferris Bueller right before Bueller comes out.
oh, he's way cooler than Ferris Bueller.
But everyone yeah.
He's way cooler than Ferris Bueller. And I think this movie actually did okay. I don't think this movie
Did it?
bombed. I think it did okay, but it also
Oh, good.
wasn't a super high budget movie.
No,
But
it's very underrated as far as the '80s classics go.
I mean, I like Martha Coolidge too. I think she directs it great. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Even though Val Kilmer did not get along with Martha Coolidge.
Uh,
Uh,
Start of a trend.
they had very differing opinions on what was funny. And let's
Mm.
just say Val Kilmer was right because
I
that's
mean,
very apparent.
but it does that make sense with a guy who just came off doing Top Secret and clearly has comedic timing down to a T.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Yep.
yeah, I would err on his judgment. But this being his second movie, obviously most directors are gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah, which again is a shame, but he was right. And the Real Genius is just it's great. And there's way more like that guy characters in that movie than people remember. Um,
Mm,
which is just a ton of fun. But just him playing a senior genius at like basically Cal Poly and is just it's a great role. It's a great character. The wit is unmatched. Um, it has some of my favorite lines of all time. Just when they're just in the dorm room and they've turned it into ice. Because again, they're all these like these geniuses just experimenting on things. And when they made it all ice, And then the guy, it's the guy who plays Kent. I don't remember the actor's name. Do you remember?
I'm trying to rattle my brain. It's not who I'm thinking of. Um, crap.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to look it up, but to be honest, the casting order is all
Yeah,
over the
it does that
place.
annoying thing where it doesn't have the top billing first.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But it's the guy who's plays Kent just comes in, just wet blanket of the group, and he's just like, "What is this?" Without missing a beat. Val Kilmer just goes, "This is ice. This is what happens to water when it gets too cold." And then just points at the guy and goes, "This is Kent. This is what happens when people get too sexually frustrated."
Robert
Like
Prescott.
that level of wit is just my favorite. It's my favorite thing.
Which you're right. Like that line coming from another actor could have been so like just because you that line almost you think of a lot of like modern day bad Whedon ripoff,
Yep.
dialogue.
Yep.
Where you're just like shut up, and it's like again it depends on the delivery and who it's coming
It's
from.
the
Could be
timing and the delivery. It's
exactly
the fact that he starts almost before the guy finished his sentence.
yeah
Like it's that fast. Again, it's honestly it's very Chevy Chase like in
yeah
Fletch,
for sure
which
yeah
was again the same year. Both those movies came out in '85. I'm pretty sure.
wow
Um,
what a great year
but well, Back to the Future also. Literally, my
yep
two favorite
yep
movies came out the same year. Pretty solid year. But you have John Grease in it also, who's phenomenal playing Laszlo. Um, which you know who I'm talking about, right?
remind me again
John Grease. He's Uncle Rico,
yes
and he's in a bunch of other stuff, but he's phenomenal in that.
oh yeah
It's great. I mean, you have one of the lines when he comes into he's going to visit the professor, who's William Atherton, who's another great dick in
yeah
movies.
the annoying reporter in Die Hard
Yep, yep, exactly. He's basically playing the exact same character.
yeah always
And
a prick
plays great, but he's going to visit him, and this like hot girl opens the door, and he just looks there. He looks at her, and he's like, "Hi, hi," and then he just lets himself in, and then he's just like, uh, Jerry asked me to stop by. What do he ask you to do?" And she just goes, "What?" He just pauses and goes, "Which word didn't you understand?" That's one of my favorite responses to anything ever, and I use it to this day.
that's perfect
Absolutely perfect. But yeah, if you haven't seen Real Genius, watch Real Genius. I think it is the most underrated movie of all time, and it should be way more highly known when you talk about 80s like teen comedies. And it's great. And the main kid is great too. Who
yeah
I
yeah
don't think I've seen in anything else after that,
He had
but
a little bit of a career, but yeah, I can't remember him being in much after that. But yeah, he was great.
he does a great job. Yeah, and everyone else in that movie is great. So I highly recommend Real Genius. But then after that, he does a 180 about face and plays Iceman in Top
Freaking
Gun.
Iceman.
Could not get a more opposite character than what he had just played.
Well, I mean, Chris
And
Knight is also cool as shit
oh
too,
well,
but
okay, fair
a
enough,
different kind.
fair
Yeah,
enough. You're right. Yes,
yeah.
he very much is still cool, but just goes and just does the complete uber serious. I mean, he's basically playing like Sergeant Friday, almost a level of like
Yeah,
character who is, and
just
we've already
stoic
said this,
badass.
best part of the movie,
Yeah, and there's a
steals
lot of good
every
parts
single
of that
part of the
movie.
movie.
Yep.
The plaque for the alternates is down in the ladies' room. It, just phenomenal, phenomenal stuff. I mean,
I-
I have a shirt in there that just says "I am dangerous,"
mm,
which
oh
is
yeah,
great,
he's
which is
just that
great.
nightmare because like you can imagine being Maverick, and no matter what you do, it's like there's nothing I can say in response to him that won't make me sound like I'm butthurt and just trying to be like, whatever. Because you're
Yeah,
like, it's freaking Iceman.
he's so whiny. Like
Yeah,
every time he's talking with Iceman, and again, they do it such a great job just with that dynamic and that tension between those two characters. And Val Kilmer did it for real on set, apparently, of course, because it's Val Kilmer,
Yep.
and kind of broke the group and the actors into different kind of
Clicks.
cliques,
Yeah.
which again I think helps the movie tremendously.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
um, there's so many little touches. Honestly, one of my favorite things is what Tom Cruise does, where he never calls him Iceman. He
Yeah.
calls him
That's a great little
Kaczynski
detail.
the whole time.
Yeah. Not
The
gonna give
whole
him that.
time.
Yeah. That respect.
Nobody uses their real name ever, but he
No.
always calls him Kaczynski. He won't call
That's
him
like
Iceman.
trying to do like derogatory. And it's like, bro, it doesn't matter.
Like
Even
that's
with
a
a name like Kuzinski, he's still a badass.
oh yeah, for sure. Fantastic. And of course wins as he should. He gets the Top Gun trophy
Yep.
because he beat the crap out of everybody and then held off 5 MiGs single-handedly for like 10 minutes, which is just badass.
True American patriot right there.
It's true. True, he is. But yeah, Top Gun, fantastic. Perfect movie. Don't care. There's nothing bad you can say about Top Gun. Volleyball and all, it's all perfect. Then
Was
into
that great?
Willow, huh?
Oh, sorry. It was that great quote. I forget who asked him, but they're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how homoerotic is Top Gun? He's like 11.
Yeah. Yep. That's great.
Uh,
Fantastic. Then you go into Willow, which you can talk a little
Willow.
bit more about. You watched that a lot more. I didn't watch that growing up, so
Oh, sure.
you definitely could speak a little bit more on Willow and his just phenomenal Mad Mardigan character.
Yeah, I love Willow. I remember watching that. My mom renting it from Blockbuster and showing it to us, because she loved it growing up, and obviously we were after Lord of the Rings, we were just desperate for anything sword and sorcery, and really when you think about it, when the 80s and 90s, there's not a whole lot of good medieval sword or sorcery movies. So Willow was definitely a like as soon as we saw it, we're like, oh, this is perfect, because this is a really good blend of like kind of kid friendly humor and stuff, but also terrifying classic, 80s effects and villains and stuff like that. But him as Matt Mardigan is once again steals the show. I put that performance right up there with Brendan Fraser in The Mummy as like just the perfect mix of like action hero but comedic timing, um, physical comedy, which again is hard to do, but obviously him being in Top Secret, he nails it. He's just so freaking cool in that movie. He's not Aragorn. He's like a bumbling version of Aragorn, but he's
He's like
still
Aragorn's like retarded younger brother.
yeah, like the family screw up, but he's still like the best swordsman ever. You're like crap. So again, kind of like Iceman, you can't deny just how good he is, and that's like the perfect role for him is just a guy who's like, how are you so good?
One of
Which
the all-time sorry to interrupt, but I was just saying
no,
one of the all-time great character entrances too.
oh god, yeah, when he's in the cage and he,
Yeah.
he looks like a psychopath, and it's great because he's like this bum, and they're like, oh, we can't leave the baby alone with this guy, and then he's like, no, I'm the greatest swordsman. They're like, yeah, sure, guy, and then sure enough, he is. Uh, so I love Willow. That's one I rewatch pretty regularly, but he's fantastic in that movie, and obviously, what more can you say? You can say about him in every role he did, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely much a theme of like I'm sure we'll talk about it, but there's another quote he had where he was talking about just he's one of those guys who's kind of like Viggo Mortensen, where he's just naturally talented and can pick stuff up like that. So apparently he was with all the training they got for Top Gun or Top Gun. Afterward, he was like, "No, I can pretty much fly a fighter jet, no problem. Actually, I can fly it better than most actual pilots." And I think someone challenged him, and actually, it proved to be true. And then, so you see this recurring story with him in movies, which we'll get to when we talk about Heat. But yeah, I
Yeah.
heard when it came to sword fighting on Willow, he just picked it up like it was second nature.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, which
Great
is
fun movie.
it is. It is. It's a lot of fun. We'll skip up to The Doors. I don't want to talk about Kill Me again, mostly because I don't remember it, even though
Yeah,
I know I've seen it. Uh, The Doors is interesting. Um, I don't like The Doors,
no,
really.
same.
It's not a great movie. There is a great movie in there,
Probably.
but it's drowned with a bunch of, let's just say, hippy dippy bullshit.
As
And
Rick Dalton would say.
yeah, exactly. Goddamn fucking hippies. Um, but he, I mean, it's undeniable that Val Kilmer is absolutely outstanding
Just
at playing
embodied.
Jim Morrison. I mean, literally is Jim Morrison for all intents and purposes. Trained for this for a year. Tried to get this role for like a year. Um, this is like the method. This is it. The
Yeah.
Val Kilmer method actor. It's this. That's what this is. Literally live the character for well over a year. Um, wore nothing but leather pants and all that stuff. Just fully embodied that character. Tried to get that role, and this is around the time when he was trying to work with big directors. Around this
Sure,
time,
sure.
famously, he really tried hard to get the lead role in Goodfellas
No
with
kidding.
Martin Scorsese. He basically shot a mini film of him playing the the
Harry,
yeah
not Harry. Or
uh,
Ray Liotta's
yeah
character.
Ray Liotta's the main character. I'm blanking on his name. Started with an
Yeah.
H. But whatever. He was basically he like did everything he could to get that role and didn't get it. Which
Wow.
still makes me mad that he didn't get that role. Like, I'm real mad at Martin Scorsese for not casting Val Kilmer. Ray Liotta is great. I got nothing against
Yeah.
Ray Liotta,
It's hard
and I
to
think
yeah.
he's good as that character too. But as someone who doesn't like Goodfellas as much as most people do,
Right, right.
boy, I wish Val Kilmer was the lead in that movie because I would like it a
Yeah.
lot more.
That I definitely
Um,
agree.
but so he was doing that at this time, and that was one. He did that same type of thing for the Doors. You
Okay.
know, became Jim Morrison, learned all the songs, and that was basically how he got the role. Was the songs was Oliver Stone not being able to differentiate the two, which it went so far as to the Doors band members couldn't
Yeah.
differentiate between which songs Val Kilmer sang and which ones were the Jim Morrison tracks, which is
I mean,
still
come on.
wild that that's true.
Yeah.
And
I
so
can't
yeah,
imagine.
movie. Go ahead.
I wonder who else was trying to get that role.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't actually looked into that, to be honest.
Because I
But
mean, you look back at it, you're like, why even bother? Like, I mean, Val Kilmer already looks like Jim Morrison to begin with. And
yeah,
it's like, what are we even doing? And then, yeah,
yep.
as soon as you hear him sing, you're like, okay, yeah, no audition needed.
Nope, not at all. And so yeah, The Doors is one I don't rewatch a lot, just because I
No,
think, again, all the band stuff I think is awesome.
right.
Kyle MacLachlan is awesome. Everyone, Frank Wiley is awesome. Like, all the band members are great, and all of like the rise of the band, the like Ed Sullivan performance, like all that stuff is awesome.
Yeah,
It's the 2 hours you spend in the desert with Indians that's
drugs.
just
Yeah,
drags. It drags.
yeah,
And unfortunately, that was kind of the point of the movie.
right.
And also the other thing, not a huge fan of Meg Ryan. Um,
Now you are you?
well, no, I'm fine with Meg Ryan, and I think Meg Ryan is fine, but she's Meg Ryan. That's why it doesn't work. It
Yeah,
takes
yeah. I know
you
what you
out of the
mean.
movie. Every other character is playing like that character, and then you see
Yeah,
Meg Ryan, and you're just like, it's Meg Ryan. You know,
yeah.
she was too big. I think she's too big of a star for that role.
She was at
Um,
the time. Yeah,
it needed to be someone lesser. You know, it just when you're filled with that level and Val Kilmer and all that stuff, it stands out to me.
yeah.
Um,
And she was never on the level of that could match his talent too. I mean, she was never that
well,
great of an actress.
true, but yeah, for sure.
Um, Kyle,
Then go ahead.
Kyle MacLachlan had a really nice tribute to Val Kilmer.
Yeah, you're right. He did.
A lot of
So did Frank
actors have.
Wiley.
Yeah, Danny Trejo. A lot of them have been coming out. It's been really nice to see.
Apparently today at CinemaCon, Tom Cruise did a moment of silence for him.
Oh man, oh, there'd not be a dry eye in the room if I was there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw
Oh
that.
man,
That was going around Twitter. I saw it
Oof,
this afternoon, which is
classic.
great.
Yeah,
But then he goes into Thunderheart, which is a really good movie, where
I didn't rewatch it.
he's an FBI agent. He's a young FBI agent on a I think South Dakota reservation, investigating a murder on a
Yeah,
reservation. So kind of again, Wind River
very much.
ish setting, which but not anything like Wind River,
Right.
but he's also, I think he's like mixed, like I think he's like half Native American, the
Yeah, I
character,
think
something
so.
like that.
Yeah, I've
But
seen.
it's a good movie. It's a
I
solid
definitely want to
movie.
rewatch that.
It's one I definitely need to rewatch for
Great
sure.
cast.
Yeah, it is. Sam Shepard. Yeah, that's a great movie. He then plays Elvis in True Romance, which is a great movie. That's fun. I haven't seen True Romance in a bit. I need to
Saw it
pull
for the
that out
first time
again.
not too long ago. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
I'd known
good.
about it. Yeah, oh yeah. Like I'd known about it. You'd seen all the famous clips, the Sicilian monologue,
Yeah.
all
Michael
that stuff.
Rappaport is great.
Oh, I mean the freaking cast. I mean, but yeah, I finally saw it for the first time, and yeah, it's really good.
Mm-hmm. Quentin Tarantino's first movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Tony Scott directing.
yeah, because he wrote True Romance and Reservoir Dogs, and
Yeah,
hadn't directed yet. So I think chose to do the easier one with
yeah, I
Reservoir
believe
Dogs,
so. Yeah,
and then had Tony Scott do True Romance. Which again, I'll watch just about any Tony Scott movie. I showed my wife Unstoppable the other day, a couple
you
weeks ago. I
love
hadn't seen that in a
Unstoppable.
bit. Dude, that movie's great. Wait, did you say you hadn't seen it?
No, I know. I said you love Unstoppable.
Oh, yes, I do love Unstoppable because it's awesome. It's Denzel Washington and Chris
It's
Pine
fine.
trying to catch a
Yeah.
train. It's awesome. But I don't want to talk about Real McCoy. We already talked about that. But then we can just park here for the next hour and a half,
We're gonna be here a while.
and just talk about Tombstone, because we're gonna go Tombstone, Batman Forever, and Heat. Just
Oh
nothing
boy.
but absolute bangers. Yes, Batman Forever is great.
We
We don't go for Batman Forever hate on this podcast, on
we
this
don't go for
Batman podcast.
morons. It's a
That's true.
wrong take.
Uh, Tombstone, pretty much perfect.
Greatest Western ever.
Greatest Western ever.
Maybe greatest cast ever.
Probably greatest,
I mean,
greatest full on comprehensive performances ever.
yeah. Most like
Everyone's great. Everyone's
just
great in that movie.
colorful characters and
Everyone's
again,
batting 1,000, and it had no business happening because of how much of a disaster that movie was to make.
oh god, yeah.
I mean, they fired the director like months in, bring in George Cosmatos with no like prep at all. Literally just
Drop
like,
them in.
hey,
Yeah.
do this. And
With this rich script that you have to like the dialogue you have to like ruminate and sit with, and you're just like, no, 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 go for it, just shoot it. And it's like, no, no, no. Every line deserves like a certain level of attention. So
it
yeah,
should have been
it's
a
not
disaster.
it
Should have been
should
a
have been.
disaster. And instead, we got basically perfection out of this movie. Yeah, there's not a whole lot else to be said other than this movie is amazing. But obviously, Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer did a lot of work on this movie.
Yeah.
Did a lot of work behind the scenes on this movie, helping kind of rewrite things and helped a lot with the actual making of the movie, for sure. Which
Oh
I've
yeah.
again, you've Val Kilmer's talked about kind of the behind the scenes with stuff, and Kurt Russell has too. Where because
Michael
there's the
Bean
whole
too.
thing of how Kurt Russell is actually the one who directed this movie, and that's not true.
No.
But part of it kind of is because
Yeah, yeah.
he was kind of heading up a lot of it. But again,
Yeah.
because George Cosmatos hadn't been there, so there
Yeah,
was a
just pick
lot
up
of
the
that.
slack. Yeah.
There was a lot of that, and it got to the point which Val Kilmer has said, where they were kind of working the actual content, and George Cosmatos was basically just working on shooting the movie.
Yeah.
Which and however that balance they found worked perfectly, and they
Absolutely.
hit every single edge. They hit everything about it. Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, greatest acting performance of all time, greatest movie
Coolest
character of all
character,
time
yeah, ever.
ever. I
Uh,
don't really, I wouldn't argue that at all.
I mean, name me a more quotable character.
Yeah, basically got most of the good lines, which props to Kurt Russell for
Oh yeah,
that as well.
yeah.
Um,
And Kurt
kind of,
Russell's phenomenal. That's the thing.
and has
Kurt
a
Russell.
bunch of great lines.
Oh yeah, Kurt Russell. I mean, the whole thing with him going into the poker
Good gosh. Him
with
with
Billy
Billy
Bob.
Bob Thornton is just one of the
Yeah.
best scenes ever.
So even if you only had Kurt Russell really as the star of this movie, it would already be an amazing western. And the
Hmm.
fact that he can only then be shown up by freaking Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday, just shows you how freaking good he is. Because I
Hmm.
mean, Kurt Russell has so many great lines. Powers Booth has so many great lines.
Yep.
Michael Bean. I mean,
Stephen
God,
Lang steals every scene
Stephen
that he's
Lane,
in.
freaking I.
That's such a great character. The Ike
Oh,
Clanton character is just awesome.
one of the most hateable characters ever.
Yeah, it's just nonstop absolute beasts in this movie. And then you got Charlton Heston making an appearance, Michael Rooker making appearances.
Thomas
Uh
Hayden Church,
you have Billy Zane making
Billy
appearances in this
Zane.
movie.
Oh
And
yeah,
everyone is just at the top of their game and everyone kills it. Every little part kills it. Everybody in this movie is phenomenal. And Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday is the greatest movie character of all time. And
yeah.
it's just pure
I mean,
gold.
just
And it makes me real disappointed that that whole just that whole Southern aristocrat accent died.
yeah,
It is. It's a shame, but it literally died because of the Civil War.
yeah. Freaking yeah. We just wiped out entire generations. Which I don't want to get into that. But yeah, the story of how he came up with the dialect for Doc Holliday was pretty cool. His uh his I think dialogue coach or accent coach, whatever you call it, knew a guy who's like a descendant of that freaking, antebellum Southern aristocrat and had that accent. It was like, there you go. Or he had a like recording of somebody who had that accent.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, it's so good. But every line Doc Holliday has is insanely iconic.
Just him. He's just like, just just the whole scene when they first meet Powers Booth and Michael Bean
Oh God, the
is just
Latin.
gold. Well,
Come
yeah,
on.
the Latin, yes, but my favorite line is before.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is when he first comes in and he's like, "Oh, famous Wyatt," or it's like, "Yeah, I'm retired." It's like, "Good, good, that's good."
You
And they just
retired
look
too.
over like, "You must be Doc Holliday. You retired too?" No, sir. I'm in my prime. As he's just sweating, coughing, just
He looks like a
miserable.
mess.
Powers Booth just
uh,
goes, "Yeah, you look it." Like it's just great.
Oh, it's great. And then they have their showdown. Oh my God. Well,
I
it's
mean,
just
my
his introduction with Ed Bailey is one of my favorites. Just every line he has. Why, Ed? Are we cross? Ed, if I didn't think you and I could no longer be friends, I don't think I could live with myself.
I don't think I could bear it. So good.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, like to this day, my fantasy football team is in Vino Veritas, and it has been for
Nice.
the past like 5 years. Like that's literally been my fantasy football team name.
Tombstone
So,
is literally one of those movies. It's by law. If you're flipping through channels and it's on, you have to watch it in entirety.
oh yeah, if I'm flipping channels and it's on, I'll sit there watch whatever scene it's on, and then as soon as it goes to a commercial, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull out the movie and then actually
Yeah, just
watch it.
rewatch it from the beginning. Yeah.
Which I learned that from my dad. We're not one for commercials. We're like, nah,
Oh
we don't
God,
need to do
no.
that. I got it. I got it over there.
Uh,
I'm gonna pop
not with
that thing
movies.
in.
That's why you need to own. But I mean, is
Hmm.
there any cooler scene than when he and Johnny Ringo have their showdown?
Oh, is there? I don't know. Their first encounter, maybe.
I mean, that's the crazy part. That's just as good, and there's no like action, but literally
I
just
mean,
them
that's I'm your
speaking Latin.
Huckleberry. I mean,
Yeah, but just the
I don't
tension
know.
of.
I think yeah, I think you're probably right though. It's
I
him
mean,
walking into the shot. It's him walking out
yeah,
of the
yeah.
shadows.
It's a payoff. But
Ah,
no,
Johnny
I agree.
Ringo, you look like
The-
someone just walked over your grave.
Uh, and still, I think the coldest line delivery ever is, when he's like, we never finished our game, a game for blood,
Play for
and Johnny,
blood, remember?
yeah, and Johnny Ringo is just like, I was just fooling, and just
I wasn't.
as cool as a cucumber. He just says, I wasn't, with that evil smirk. Come
And
on, dude.
man, give it to Michael Bean. Michael Bean's reaction
Yeah,
is just gold because he knows he's gonna die.
he's so done, but he can't. You're like, what do you do? You're
He
just,
asked.
and I,
He's stuck.
you're like, maybe I can actually pull this off. Maybe I'll just get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe hopefully everything everyone has ever said about him has just been blown out proportion, and he's a total fraud.
Hopefully, he's sick enough that I can get him.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. And then nope. Oh, it's so good. The fact that he shoots and reholsters
Yep.
like before he even can react is just great. And then you get Wyatt showing up and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't as sick as I made out."
I
Like
mean,
it's great.
is there any other friend you would rather have than Doc Holliday?
No. No. I mean
No.
again, and you have another again, we can just quote the whole movie, but later
Oh yeah.
after the Wyatt Earp walking on water scene when he's like, "Doc, what are you doing this for?" Wyatt Earp is when he's just like, "Wyatt Earp is my friend." Hell, I got lots of friends. I don't.
Yep.
And that sums up the whole character right
Yep.
there.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Yeah, you don't need some scene of him and Wyatt having some face to face where they're crying and trying to and they're
Nope.
telling each other how much they mean to each other. Nope. He's my friend. I'm gonna go to hell and back for him. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
at the very end, when he's in the hospital bed and he does what a true friend does. He goes, Wyatt, go live your life. He's like, you've done enough for me.
Yep.
Oh, beautiful scene.
It is. It's great. And I've been to both Glenwood Springs, Colorado. It's about
Ah,
5 hours from here, which is where the grave of the real Doc Holliday is.
so cool.
Made a trip out there a few years ago, and then got to go to Tombstone and actually see the OK Corral and all that stuff, which is just awesome. Which is a bummer you weren't able to make it. That's
I'm still mad.
I know, I am too. I'm still so bummed, man. Of all the weeks that happened to
Ugh,
be,
that would be
but
so cool.
yeah, we'll go again. We'll go again because it's awesome. Definitely
Yeah.
worth it. But yeah, Tombstone, man. Tombstone. It's
Well,
just
a
it's perfect.
masterpiece.
I will say the only slightly thing about the movie is I just think all the Dana Delaney scenes are kind of boring.
I don't mind them. They're short
Some of them
enough,
are
and
fine. Some of them are a little much. Where it's like, do we need
my my
them to go on a whole picnic for 5 minutes? No.
my only complaint is some of the music. Sometimes I like it almost like even the scene we were talking about the showdown between Doc and Johnny Ringo. The music almost takes me out of it a little bit too much, but
Oh, fair.
again, it's still so great. It works.
Yeah, it does. It's awesome. Fantastic. So, yeah, Tombstone, great, perfect, greatest character ever, greatest performance ever. Should have
But
won on
better than
Oscar, and
Unforgiven.
yes, we did a whole episode on that.
We did.
Um, yes, way better than Unforgiven, and should have
Absolutely.
won an Oscar. Val Kilmer should have won Best Supporting Actor, and
Hands
wasn't
down.
even nominated. It's
Nope.
insane, absolutely insane. Because
He must have pissed somebody, multiple people off.
yeah, which yeah, it's a shame, such a shame. So then basically goes into Batman
Batman
and
Forever.
gets to star in Batman Forever, which is one of the more I would also say one of the most underrated Batman movies.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you and I have been, on record ad nauseum singing the praises of Batman Forever. Mark, where does Val Kilmer's Batman rank for you?
We did a whole episode on this, Ian. It's funny that you say that. I'm pretty sure for me it's third all time.
You have him behind
I think I have it behind Kevin
West.
Conroy and Adam West.
Okay, well, how about just live action? No
Live
Conroy.
action, I think I have him behind Adam West, and that's it. As
Yeah,
far as portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman, I think
yeah,
Val Kilmer is the best besides Adam West.
I mean, we gotta have that conversation because I mean, one thing we haven't
We've
talked
had
about
this
is
conversation, and we
well,
can
you and
have it
I have
again. Um,
mainstream.
we,
The public needs to have this
oh yes,
conversation,
yes, they do,
which
because his Bruce Wayne, I think, is by far the most accurate Bruce Wayne. Um, I think Michael Keaton in Batman Returns is a good Bruce Wayne. His Bruce Wayne in Batman is not good. His Bruce
no,
Wayne in
no.
Batman Returns is good.
Hmm,
But Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne, I think, is perfect. As far as what we've seen in live action, it fits. I think it fits the character the most closely to the comics, of
yeah,
the live ones that we've seen, where you buy him, you
yeah,
buy that he's running Wayne Enterprises, like he is a
yeah.
CEO. He acts like a CEO. He acts like a different character, and his Batman is solid as well. Great
Oh,
Batman, great
Batman's
presence,
great.
great delivery.
The
Um,
voice,
the voice fantastic, the profile fantastic. Like it's not talked about enough.
not nearly
He's
enough.
he's pushed aside. People say he's not that great. He's wooden. He's still. It's like, yes, he is. You know why? Because he's playing Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
That's the way the character's supposed to be.
and
And
keep in mind,
especially when you have such, the villains are the wild, wacky people, and Batman's not.
yeah, nor should
That
he be.
again, that's why Adam West is the best Batman of all time,
Mm,
because he encapsulated that perfectly. Where
yeah,
he is the most serious Batman. Adam West is the most serious Batman by far. It's not even
take
close. No
yeah,
other
taking the
Batman
most.
is as serious as Adam West, and that's why it's so funny.
And keep in mind, we're saying all this not even having seen the true Schumacher cut.
True.
Imagine if we had that. How I really hope we get that now because
I
oh,
hope so
it,
too. I mean, I've seen a lot of it. I mean, you can
yeah,
see most of it. The deleted scenes are all out there. Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can see all the pieces of it. I've down they made back at the early internet, they made someone cut together a version with uh a lot of the deleted scenes and cut out, I think, a lot of some other stuff. So I've seen that version. So, just to have an official director's cut release,
Yeah,
just it's time, man. It's
yeah. It's
time. It's
especially
there.
having lost Schumacher and now Kilmer. Like, come on. I
It
don't want to
needs
hear
to
anything
happen.
more about an error cut before we get a Schumacher cut.
Yeah, it needs to happen. Um, but
Because I mean, Val Kilmer's Batman was my first Batman. That was the
fair.
first Batman movie I ever saw. So to me, he was the best. And
Yeah.
again, we talk about how great his voice is. Obviously, he was a musician, but he then just had a great voice in general, and so it worked perfectly for Batman. Because I don't know if you remember, but there's a scene where they get to Riddler's Island, and Robin does like the holy rusted metal joke,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
he starts going off, and Kilmer or Batman just goes, Robin, wait, and dude, that is other than Conroy, that is Batman's voice like personified. The
Yeah.
way he says it, I'm like, that's freaking Batman. But I mean,
Yeah.
every line he has in the movie, I am Bruce Wayne, not because I have to be, because I want to be. At the very end, like he's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. He's great and doesn't get nearly enough credit.
No,
Um, the movie in general is great,
yeah,
flaws and all, Tommy Lee Jones and all.
oh yeah,
I enjoy it. I enjoy every part of it. I feel the same way about the prequels and Star Wars. I'm
no,
not going to argue this is any high art going on
right.
here, but it's a great movie, and it's a great Bruce Wayne and Batman portrayal.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it's like
I think by far it's the best Bruce Wayne portrayal in any live action movie,
I think it perfectly balances all the aspects of Bruce Wayne. It has the kind of reserved reclusiveness, but not too much like Pattinson's. But then it
because
also
he
has
still is the CEO of a company, so you can only go
exactly,
so far with that.
exactly. Because obviously, if you're too mysterious and too, quiet and stuff, people will be like, what else he got going on? But
Yeah,
he also does enough of the playboy aspect that you kind of get with Bale's Bruce Wayne. But again, it just balances it perfectly, and uh, it's so good.
it is phenomenal. It's great.
He's the only one who could pull off a blonde Bruce Wayne and still make it work.
Yeah, he's not blonde,
Yeah, very
but
blonde, but
yeah, but fair. How's my mole?
Oh gosh.
Jim Carrey's great in that movie.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
he's just fully channeling Frank Gorshin, and is probably the only one who could pull off a Frank Gorshin like character.
Very
But
true.
but then after that, he goes into Heat, right in with
Sweet.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and good grief, man. Not just holds his own, but basically steals the scenes with Robert De Niro. Um, again,
I mean, like
isn't really the focus, and isn't in a ton of the movie as
no,
a
not a
whole,
whole lot. Not a, not
but
not very many lines either.
yeah, but is fantastic, cool as a freaking cucumber, and is probably the only person who's ever looked cool with a '90s ponytail.
Yeah, yeah, he really does somehow pull it off with that crazy hair. But like we said, Tombstone, the greatest western ever. He is the greatest cop heist thriller ever.
Yes, yes,
He is a freaking masterpiece, and I mean, just him in the movie is so freaking cool, and all the behind the scenes. I mean, there's probably very few cooler trivia facts other than the fact that in Marine boot camp, instructors will show Val Kilmer's reload on his M4 as like the proper technique because it's so freaking smooth.
I've just sat there and watched the clip like 20 times in a row.
Like, dude, I've tried doing it myself that smooth. I can't do it, and that's what we're
Okay,
talking about. We're
but Ian, did they show this in your training?
not for mine. We didn't get to watch freaking movie clips. Are you kidding me? We're out there in the field doing this crap. With we're not in some cozy classroom. No, but no, I do know of like police academies and totally other training classes that will use that clip because it's yeah the textbook reload. It couldn't go any smoother, and
And
just the
again,
way he handles the guns too is pure
the way
experience.
everybody handles the guns, because the
Oh
amount
yeah,
of work that went in, I mean, they basically did that entire scene
with live
live
ammo.
fire.
Yep.
Like they rehearsed that entire scene live fire, which is
I mean
just
they
wild.
their instructors were former SAS, which are the British Navy SEALs, and those guys are the baddest of badasses. So I mean
Even
the
if they
fact
are
that
from Britain, we'll give it to them.
I mean it's just you say that with the SAS what they've done. Oh my god. But no, he is one of the coolest freaking movies ever.
And
Oh god.
I love all the clips that have been going around where people are like highlighting him and Heat, because again, Heat's so, I mean, Heat is so good, and there's so much in Heat that there's so many aspects of it. But now, of course, with the death of Val, where people have been highlighting him
Yeah.
specifically, which has been nice because it's not a thing that's lost necessarily, but there's just so much going on in that movie,
Right.
and he's a
Right.
small part of it.
Yeah.
But
The scenes
highlighting,
are very, very powerful,
oh
especially,
yes, and
him at the
I
end with Ashley Judd.
yeah, that whole scene with no dialogue is
Oh man.
awesome. But I saw a thing I didn't know. I didn't realize that I saw someone point out on Twitter that he only smiles twice in the movie.
Yep.
And it's when they just finish the heist, which of
Yeah.
course then it all goes wrong.
Yep.
And then when he sees Ashley Judd at the end of the movie, those are the
Yeah.
and then immediately has to leave. Like, but the two times he finally smiles are then like the two worst moments of his life.
Yeah, they're right. The two times where he thinks things are finally gonna work out, and
Yep.
nope, both times he just one of these starts blasting, which is awesome, and
It's
then
awesome. Yeah.
the
It's
second
like
time,
he just goes straight up Danny DeVito.
oh, does not care. Anyway, I started blasting.
That's exactly
But
what happens.
you would have had to, because yeah, if he had let them get the first shot, they'd all be dead. And it's like he saved their lives, and he's carrying that gunfight. He's like the
Oh yeah.
leader. He's the one until he gets hit. He's the
Yep.
one doing everything. He kills what's his name, Ted Levine.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the MVP of that gunfight.
Man, me and my roommate in college, me and my roommate Blake, we would just watch that scene on repeat, like for like
Oh,
12 hours, just like staying up
greatest
all night, just watching Val Kilmer just shoot from both sides of a car, just single handedly participating in this gunfight.
greatest movie gunfight ever.
It's there, no, it's not even close. Like there's
No,
not even another thing to even compare. Like there is no comparison to the gunfight in Heat. Downtown LA, real blanks, real sound,
Oh yeah.
just outstanding. Just it's perfect. It's
And,
absolutely perfect.
and it going down the way it would, where there's
Yeah,
range, like it's not just they're 5 feet apart, like
they're
the
moving.
Naked Gun joke. Yeah, yeah, no, the bounding movements. It's all textbook.
Oh man, yeah. Now I want to watch Police Squad again.
I
Uh,
know, because they just showed that trailer for the new remake, and it's like, oh god,
yeah, I haven't watched it yet,
I
but
I, I don't care.
yeah, fair. I don't either. But yeah, Heat's phenomenal. He's great. Then we talked about Island Dr. Moreau, just a whole cluster.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Where
Then
again,
he,
the making of is more interesting than the movie itself.
yes, for sure, for sure. Then he does Ghost in the Darkness, which we talked a little bit about. Great movie.
Love it.
Killing lions in Africa, man. It's
True
just
story.
great. And again, and
Yeah.
he's playing again a different character, very buttoned up, like
Family
basically
Man.
a straight up stick up his butt, anal retentive perfectionist,
Yeah.
in a situation where that's impossible, and he's
Oh
having
yeah.
to like come to grips with that.
Classic fish out water story. But yeah, really good movie. Really entertaining. Just like that pure
Well,
90s thriller.
and it's interesting seeing that because again, it just goes to the range of Val Kilmer. Michael Douglas is the Doc Holliday
He's
in
a
the
cool
movie,
guy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
and and Kilmer's playing the opposite
That's a good
of
point.
that and
Yeah.
killing it.
Yep.
He's
He's just
great.
a freaking chameleon.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Very underrated. Then he does.
Absolutely.
Then he goes into The Saint, um, which I haven't seen The Saint in a while. I need
I
to.
rewatch that one pretty regularly. I really like it. My dad
So
loved it
you
because
can talk about The Saint.
yeah, yeah. I never saw the original TV show.
Me neither.
That is a remake of, but yeah, it's one of his coolest roles because he plays all these different like characters and disguises. So
It's very
it's
out
him.
there.
Yeah, so it's him doing like four incredible performances within one movie, where
He's no
where
Chevy Chase and Fletch though.
no, no, of course, but no, it's my dad really liked it because my dad, was a Russian linguist in the army in the Cold War. So anything Russia and Russia, based was always fascinating. And the whole
Of
movie
course.
takes place in Russia. So you've got the great what's his name? Rafe I forget his name. Hold on. Raid Serbegia, I forget his last name. As Ivan Tretiak. He's always the Russian bad guy in like everything.
Yeah.
But he's great in this one. His coked out son who's great too as like the villain.
Yeah.
But it's very it's a lot more romantic than probably his other movies.
He's the Russian from John Wick, right?
Oh yeah, like everything, dude.
Yeah.
Like seriously. But he's great in this one because he's like, your typical corrupt, um bureaucrat who's trying to overthrow the government.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely more of a romantic kind of movie with the whole love story between him and Elizabeth Shue, who I always really
And that's
liked.
the part
So
I'm not as much of a fan of.
I figured. I
It's
had a feeling if there was
fine.
anything
It's
you didn't
fine.
like.
It just slows it down a lot.
Yeah, it's really not much of like an action movie really. It's a lot
No.
more kind of a romantic kind of thriller. But no, I really like it. And he's great in it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely yeah, like you said, pretty much the last time he really headlined a movie
Mm-hmm.
through and
Like a
through.
big movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then he does Prince of Egypt, which we've talked about a little bit before.
Yeah, Ray
Po-
Fiennes also did a nice tribute to him.
Yeah. Yep. I did see that, which is cool. But yeah, Prince of Egypt might be the best animated movie ever. Um,
Oh, he's just
it's
gorgeous. And,
perfect. It's a perfect movie. The
uh,
cast is incredible.
I mean, the very first Deliver Us music. I mean, talk about
Yeah,
opening a movie.
all of the music is outstanding,
Oh gosh.
just spectacular, and I think it won I think
Oh
that's the
yeah.
Oscar it won was for
Oh yeah.
music or something.
It was Hans
Should have
Zimmer.
won
Yeah,
more. The fact that it only won one Oscar is ridiculous.
it should have been
Um,
nominated for Best Picture.
I agree. I totally agree.
Because how long did it take to animate the Red Sea? Was that like a year and a half? I think
Gosh, I don't remember, but it was a
it
very long time.
it was over a year, and
Yeah,
just to do that one pretty much few
and it's
frames.
beautiful.
Oh my god.
But just we've gone over this again. But let's just go. I just want to go over the cast list because it just seems fake. Um, It's literally Val Kilmer, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover, Patrick Stewart, Helen Mirren, Martin Short, Steve Martin, James Avery. It's just it should be illegal.
Back when they actually used to cast people for their voices and not just for their names. Although these are all
Mm-hmm.
big names too, but
They're all
their
big names.
voices their voices work perfectly for their characters
They're
and
all regular actor stars. They're
oh yeah.
not voice actors. But they just do a great job. One of my favorite little things is just the fact that Steve Martin plays the really short, or like the really short, fat uh, of the evil magicians, and Martin Short plays the super tall, skinny one. That
It was
that just
funny.
that always makes me laugh. I think
You know
that's
they did
funny.
that on purpose.
Oh, they 100% did that on purpose. But yeah, it's spectacular. Incredibly underrated movie still, even though everyone agrees that it's a masterpiece. It's
Oh,
still underrated, I think,
like I say,
even with that.
even staunch atheists I know are like, "That movie is a freaking masterpiece."
And incredibly accurate. It is incredibly biblically accurate.
Yeah,
Um, of a movie. It which is shocking for a Hollywood movie
I
based off
know.
anything Christian or Judeo or any of that, and it's actually pretty much spot on accurate. Um, but yeah, Prince of Egypt's great. Of course, Val Kilmer, the voice of Moses and the voice of God. So the whole biggest scene in the movie is the burning
Oh,
bush
man.
scene, and he does it with himself, which is
You
just
just
cool.
you just imagine, like, being in the recording studio when he did that and just oh, your
The only
mouth
thing I'm
agape.
bummed about is he doesn't do the singing, which I don't
I
understand
know!
why. I don't
It's
understand why.
surprising. You would
Like,
think with
because
his
he
background.
can do, he could do it. So I'm surprised.
Exactly.
I wonder if they just did the songs beforehand, because they do that a lot of times.
I
They do
wonder,
all the
yeah.
music beforehand. So
Yeah.
I wonder if that's why. But because he definitely could have done it for sure.
Yeah, because, like, yeah, none of the like, most of these actors are all, like, theater trained and
Yeah,
can't do music, so, yeah, I think it was a case of, like you said, Hans Zimmer. I think he was somewhere else, like, a different country when they were pretty much
probably.
making it, he did the music, separately because I
Yeah.
forget who the woman who does, like, the lullaby in the beginning, I forget her like, Moses' mom,
Mm-hmm.
that, that
That's
woman, she
Moses. Like, oh hey, yeah, shoot, who? Yeah, I don't remember who that was, but she's great.
yeah, I remember the name if I could, but, yeah, she did, like, the song,
Mm-hmm.
um, by herself pretty much, it was incredible, so they probably did like that where they had all the singers, just do it separately, and they're all great too, but
Yeah,
yeah, it would've been cool to hear, Val Kilmer do the music.
agreed. We talked about At First Sight. We talked. We don't need to talk about Red Planet.
Man,
Salt and Sea is great. We talked about that already.
yeah, good.
Um, really good movie. Which you have seen that, right?
Yeah, you, put me onto that for a movie swap, and,
Okay, good.
yeah, I'm glad you did, I never would probably seen it otherwise.
Again, and also nowadays, seeing Vincent D'Onofrio in that role is very funny.
Yeah,
Plays the
yeah, he's great.
drug lord
Crazy.
who has no nose and has a plastic nose. It's just great.
And he can
Um,
play a villain.
Again, we've talked about some of these other ones. Spartan is great. It's
Need to
basically
watch
Man
that.
on Fire with Val Kilmer. Um,
I'm definitely gonna check it out now.
Not exactly. Man on Fire is better. I mean, it's Tony Scott, but Spartan is really good, and it's David Mamet, and it's a David Mamet directed movie. David Mamet wrote it and directed it.
Yeah, did you
Uh,
hear how they got, Val Kilmer to be in the movie?
Probably just because David Mamet was doing it.
Well, no, because David Mamet was, with, I think, one of the producers or something, at dinner at a restaurant, and freaking Val Kilmer was at the table next to them as they were talking about, like, the budget and everything, and Val Kilmer was just like,
Mm.
"Hey, can I be in it?" And they're like, "Yeah."
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I
That's
just saw that.
awesome. Okay, that's great.
But
Uh,
he has a lot of stories like that, obviously, as we talked about when obviously, when he needed the money and the work and stuff, he would just be like, "Hey, can I be in this movie?" And most of the time, the reason he's not in a whole lot is probably because of budgetary reasons, but, yeah, he'd be, like, somewhere and he'd see a movie being filmed and be like, "Hey, can I be in it?" And who's
mm-hmm.
gonna say no to Val Kilmer?
Morons.
Morons.
Yeah, morons. Uh, but yeah, Spartan's good. It's basically a daughter of a government official gets kidnapped, and then he's like the head. I don't remember if he's. I think I want to say it's Army Rangers. I think is what he is in that movie. I
Okay.
get the special forces people. I don't always remember which ones. I want to say it's Rangers though that he is, and he's like training a bunch of. He's like the head of whatever the camp is or something. I don't remember what
It'd
ranking he was, but
be betting. Yeah, it'd be for betting if it was Rangers. But yeah, I'll
it
go
might
check
have
it out.
been. But it yeah no it's really good, and it's a there's a girl he's training also, and that's a pretty interesting dynamic. Um, and then of course you have William H. Macy. I'm pretty sure who plays the government official who really had a problem losing kids in the late
Yeah,
90s and
he
early
did.
2000s. Between that and Jurassic Park 3.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, no, I highly recommend it. It's a good movie.
yeah. I want to check it out now.
It's a really good movie. I don't think it's that long either. Um, I
Back
think
when
it's
movies
less than
weren't
2
that long.
hours.
Yeah.
And oh shoot, Phil Coulson is in it. I forgot he
I
was
just
in it.
saw that Clark Gregg. Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot that he was in it. Yeah,
I know
again, there's
Neil.
a lot of that type of stuff in some of these movies where you're like, oh, I forgot he was in it.
Yeah,
But it's a good one. Spartan's a good one, and it's
cool.
honestly kind of the last good one of him being the main star in it.
Yeah, that's
At least
crazy.
of the ones that I've seen,
Yeah,
because Mindhunter's just terrible. Not good. Not good. Um, Alexander, he's good,
Alien.
but
Oh yeah.
not good. And then we get to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is oh my gosh, just
I love
absolutely.
seeing all the reappreciation for this movie for how freaking funny
I
it is.
I have a top 10 Val Kilmer list, and again, this is not necessarily movie, but it's just like top 10 Val Kilmer, and I actually have Kiss Kiss Bang Bang ahead of Top Gun. Um,
I understand. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
be, because Shane Black Shane Black can do one thing and he can do it perfectly, and that's write buddy cop,
Yep.
any sort of buddy cop. I mean, again, that's how he started with Lethal Weapon. And I I go back and forth. I don't know, man, because Lethal Weapon is so good,
Oh yeah.
and Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are so good together. But Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer might be better, but it's different since they're not both cops. So
Right. I
it's a
mean,
different dynamic.
if we ever got a sequel to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, we might be talking a different story here. Because I mean, obviously
Maybe.
Lethal Weapon, Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are iconic. We had what, 4 movies of them, and
Yeah.
1
I
and 2
didn't
are good.
yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the third or fourth. They're
Yeah,
fine,
no,
but
they're fine,
the
but
first
they
two are
definitely.
great.
Oh yeah. So I mean, if we got 2 Kiss Kiss Bang Bangs with all the great Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer back and forth,
Yep.
it'd be a fair fight
I agree. I totally agree.
because they're
But
freaking hilarious.
the dialogue in that movie is some of the funniest dialogue that's ever been written.
And
And
again,
their
if by different,
delivery of this
yes.
dialogue is so good. Robert Downey Jr. is such a screw up. He's so stupid. It just works perfectly with
Well,
Val
he's just
Kilmer, who does not want to be anywhere near this guy.
well, it's hilarious that Robert Downey Jr. is playing like basically this beta to this alpha male who's a gay guy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, think about
That's
that.
true.
He's being alpha by a guy named Gay Perry.
Oh,
Uh,
what is the line that he says when he first asks him about his name? Because his
yeah,
name
yeah.
is Gay Perry. What does he say? He's like,
Uh,
no, I'm called Gay Perry because I love pussy. What does he say?
no, no, it's because he says because I forget like Robert Downey Jr. has like his magician name
Yeah.
and because like Gary is like still what's still so and so, and then Robert Downey Jr. goes still gay. He goes, me no, I love pussy. I just can't get rid of the name.
Oh man, yeah. It's
Ah,
again, witty dialogue is that's my thing. That's my
Achilles
favorite
heel.
thing.
Oh yeah,
And this movie, that's just the whole thing. Again, it's in the same vein of Real Genius and Fletch, like
sure.
level of dialogue, except it's just turned up to like 11. and
Oh
it's with
God,
two
yeah.
of them. That's the thing. It's with two of them, and
Yep.
the back and forth is just great. Again, the "Who taught you math" is one of the best deliveries. That might be like the funniest scene ever.
I just
Um,
love like he's loading the gun and Val Kilmer's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What I'm doing here, Perry." And like
this
Val Kilmer's just like, "Don't do it."
it's like
He's like, "No, no, it's fine."
there was an 8% chance. 8?
Hey,
Who taught you math?
or
Well,
the
because
dictionary.
earlier he has because earlier he has
Yeah.
the one with the grammar when he talks
Yep.
about it when he's trying to correct him for badly. Uh, who taught you grammar? Like, so he has that, so it builds on a previous scene.
Oh, of course.
But oh man, but the idiot line, that's one of the best lines of all
Oh my
time.
God.
Go look up the word idiot in the dictionary. You know what you're gonna find? A picture of me. No,
No.
the definition of the word idiot, which you fucking are.
Oh God.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's pretty much perfect movie, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, that one came out of nowhere. When you look at the whole just filmography of Val Kilmer, that one comes out of absolutely nowhere.
And like you would think after that, with like how great, like it reminded everyone what of how great he was. You think there would have been like a resurgence, like, "Oh, yeah, we
It
forget
didn't
how."
do well.
No, yeah, of course,
It
yeah, that's the
bombed.
problem. Ugh,
It bombed horribly.
we as a country failed.
Yes, we as a country failed Val Kilmer. Period.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, but
But
then
we
after
failed
that,
buddy cop films too. Yeah, the Nice
yeah,
Guys bomb too.
agreed. Yeah, which
Yeah,
is another perfect movie. Um, but then he goes back with Tony Scott and Denzel with Deja Vu,
which
which
he's
again
barely in.
should have been better, and it's
Yeah,
very forgettable. It's a very
which
forgettable movie.
which is annoying too because it's
It's
like,
also
I know.
ironic when I can't remember the movie called Deja Vu.
Well, it's like I kind of get annoyed with them being like, "Oh, Denzel, he's a real star." And it's like, I'm sorry, I love Denzel. Val Kilmer can run circles around Denzel when it
Denzel
comes to.
plays Denzel, and he plays it really freaking well.
Yeah,
But
nowhere was
Val
that more.
Kilmer is a artist.
I'm
Like
sorry, Val Kilmer should have more Oscars than Denzel. I said it.
that's yes, it's not even close. Of course he should.
Yeah, well, be careful who you say
Uh,
that to.
I don't care.
No, I know you don't.
I love Denzel Washington, but
That is great. Don't get me wrong.
can't hold a candle to Val Kilmer when it
No,
comes to acting. Um, so then after that, there's just nothing, man. It's all straight to video movies. Um,
I gotta do a quote from MacGruber. So you
well, we're not
remember?
at MacGruber yet.
Oh, we're not. Oh, okay.
No, that's not until 2010.
There's nothing
But
between.
the only other one in between, Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans is great. I don't
Oh,
care. That movie is insane. That movie's
it's a
on
trip.
every drug that exists, and it's fun. That is a fun. It's a fun Nicolas Cage, Val Kilmer, Werner Herzog drug fest movie, and it hits that.
Oh yeah,
It
does
fits.
not hold back.
No, no, it does not. Nor did we want it to.
No, because everyone thought, it was a remake of the Harvey Keitel,
Mm-hmm.
original, and so everyone's like, "Oh, it's gonna be like your typical PG-13." Nope,
Nope.
they went even harder in some ways.
They did. Oh, yep.
Oh,
Nope. It's good. That's a good movie. But then after that, then MacGruber is really it after that.
okay, well, because you've seen MacGruber, but not for a long time, right?
I don't remember anything from MacGruber.
Well, there's
I need to
the
see it again.
biggest, yeah, the biggest joke of the movie is MacGruber. I forget his name, the actor, Will Forte. Yeah, Will Forte. He's like, assembling his team of badasses, right? So he's finding all these characters that he's recruiting to be part of his like hit squad, and it's all these, giant muscle bound dudes who are just all killers and whatnot. And it's all like, okay, yeah, like MacGruber's got those,
Oh, it's all
elite.
wrestlers. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all
it's mainly
wrestlers in that
wrestlers.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he makes a big deal about it. He's like, "Don't worry, my friends are the best of the best," and he assembles all of them to help him out. And they're all in a van. He's like, "All right, guys, we're gonna get on this plane and carry out our mission." and the joke is that he left a bunch of explosives in the van. So right when you think the badasses are all gonna have their cool moment, he just accidentally blows them all up, and he's just freaking out. He's like, "No, no, 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 no!" Um, so anyway, so later on in the movie, he meets Val Kilmer, who's like the main villain, who's like great. He's like Doctor Evil. He wants to blow up Washington, I think, and he's
You sure he's
meeting
a villain?
yeah, I know, right? Uh, but like they have like a history because I think Val Kilmer like killed MacGruber's wife or some cliche, you know. It's great. But they're having their like sit down, and Val Kilmer's doing the whole like you know, we're not so different, you and I. And you know, MacGruber's all serious, like, I'm nothing like you. He's like, I don't know, you know, I tried to assemble, you know, a crack team of elite, you know, assassins and badasses to, you know, carry out this mission for me. But then I accidentally blew them all up in a van. And MacGruber goes, "Oh my God, I did the same thing." And then Val Kilmer goes, "Except I remembered I'm not a fucking retard and I didn't actually do that." But the way he says it is so good.
That's awesome. That's great.
So you should watch it just for that.
Yeah, no, I definitely will. I'm
But
adding that to the Val Kilmer marathon.
he's great actually. He's just so many funny lines. Like he has this giant missile. He has like, his henchmen there, and they're looking at this missile being armed. He's like, "Have you ever been to Washington D.C.?" And his henchman's like, "No, sir, I haven't. This will be the first time." He's like, I was talking to the missile." Just
That is funny.
ah,
Yep, I'll definitely have to. I got to pull that one out for sure. For
it's
sure.
dumb fun. It's worth watching.
Yep. Yep, for sure. But then after that, there's nothing, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's all direct to video things. Um, either TV stuff, direct to video stuff. He does do a voice in planes, which I do
I was
forget.
looking
Him
at
and
that.
Tom Cruise do voices of like the fighter jets and planes, which that's pretty funny. But I never
I'm
saw
sure they
planes.
no, I'm sure they got a good paycheck for that, hopefully.
Cars is great, but I didn't really want to watch planes, to be honest.
Yeah, they I vaguely remember this coming out, but it definitely seems like something that was just trying to capitalize off cars.
Yep. Uh, the only other thing really of note for me is when he shows up at the last episode of Psych, which is
Psych,
awesome,
of
playing
course.
Detective Dobson, who's mentioned throughout the entire 8 seasons, but you never see. And then it turns out it's Val Kilmer, which of course is
Had to be.
the biggest inspiration for the James Roday character of Sean. I mean, he basically just took all of his stuff from Real Genius
Yeah,
and used it for Psych, and it's perfect and it's awesome.
clear
I mean, Psych's my
clear as
second
day.
favorite show of all time,
Yeah, it's a great
and
show.
so it you know, which makes sense. And there's nothing they mentioned Val Kilmer more than any other celebrity in that show, multiple times. And you know, and he said it many times. He just had an Instagram post, I think yesterday, James Roday did, where he was talking about about Val Kilmer and how he was his inspiration for that character, and
Oh
that was
wow.
his inspiration to acting. He saw Real Genius as a kid, and
Oh,
then that was what made him want to be an actor.
not
And
surprising.
which again, you see it because he's channeling that in that character, and it's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
he's totally Chris Knight in a lot of ways. Yeah.
And it's perfect. It's great. And
Oh yeah.
so the fact that they got him for that season, that the series finale,
Oh
is just awesome. Awesome.
yeah, that's so cool of him.
And it happened right before. I think the series ended in 2014, I believe, which is I think the year he got throat cancer. It was either 14 or 15. I don't remember. It's one of those years that he got that.
Yeah.
But which is pretty wild because then after that, yeah, he had throat cancer and he did do a couple roles, but you know,
Not really
couldn't
speaking.
act,
Yeah.
yeah, couldn't speak anymore.
Which
So,
is
you know,
yeah, such a just shame of all the people to get throat cancer. One of the greatest voices ever.
gosh, yeah, one of the best voices ever. And again, in that period when he did a lot of parts, that 2013 period is when he was really perfecting that Mark Twain character and that one
Mm.
man show that he did, which
And
still
that could
so
have been a
bummed, man.
and it could
I
have
was
been a
about a
huge
week
comeback.
away.
Yeah.
I was a week away from going to see that live in Atlanta, had tickets, and it was about a week before that he got throat cancer and had to be hospitalized. It
Mm,
was just right before, and I missed getting to see it, which is such a bummer, man. That's still a bummer to this day that I didn't get to see that.
that does
And
suck.
yeah, but then he went through all the health stuff from then on out. He did make a. I did see him in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. That's the whole reason I went to see that movie in the theater. It was terrible. It's horrible.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
good. Jay and
couldn't
Silent
imagine.
Bob was fun, actually. I don't mind that movie.
Eh,
Um, the first one, but this one was awful. But I knew he was going to be in it, so that's why I went to see it,
fair
even though he
enough.
didn't speak. But yeah, then a couple other little roles, and then they got him back for Top Gun Maverick, and boy, man, what a just perfect portrayal. Just what a great scene.
Well, and
Everything
just
about
such
that is just done so well.
and again, just such a classy way of like, working in what, the real life situation with him into the character and then still honoring the character, right? Because what's the joke at the end of their scene is like, who's the better pilot, me or you? And it's like, it's still Iceman.
and they both know it. That's the other
Oh, they
thing.
both know it. Yeah, that's the whole point.
They both know it. And
Absolutely.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and it's so touching at the time. And this is before, and again, at the time he was fine. Like during this whole stretch, he's fine. I mean, he can't speak, but he beat the throat cancer,
Yeah,
and
crazy.
physically he was fine other than the trait, he couldn't speak.
Yeah,
But health-wise, he was good. And so they were able to get him in that role, and I think they used AI a bit to help him speak a little better, to so that because he literally couldn't speak at all, like at
no,
all.
no.
He had a
Yeah,
full tracheectomy and could not speak,
yeah.
other than the closing the hole in the throat and just rasp it, like again
Pressing
in the
down. Yeah,
documentary that came out a
yep,
couple years ago. It's all this stuff has to be subtitled really because it's just so
yeah,
hard to understand him. But they were able to find that balance perfectly in Top Gun Maverick. They built it into
yeah.
the character. And then, man, the man doesn't even speak till the end. And it's not even his voice, and steals the entire scene.
I mean, well, just that whole scene, with him pointing at the screen of like it's time to move on, and
Mm-hmm.
just how many layers there are to that, both meta, outside of the movie and within the movie itself is God, like rewatching that scene now is gonna take on a whole new meaning and just be even more of a tearjerker.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I cried in the theater at the time. Now
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to be able to get through that, man. Not now.
dude, I'm gonna cry like a wash woman.
Yep. And I'm not going to get there till a bit in my rewatch of Val Kilmer movies
Oh
that
yeah, I got to
went through.
rewatch all the other ones first.
But well, not all of them. There's a
Well, I
lot of
mean
them.
all the ones
But
we talked about that we're gonna
yeah,
rewatch that you should.
but so I'm just so happy that we got that. I'm so
Yeah,
happy that we got that. I'm so happy that he got that.
yeah, yeah,
And again, props to Tom Cruise, who really, you know, was completely insistent on getting him back for that. And not
yeah,
even just that, they make him such a huge part of that movie
yeah,
with only being in one scene. They
yeah.
do a
Because
good job with the texting, and like they do a great job working around the limitations and making him a huge presence in that movie. Same with
yeah,
Goose.
because
Him and
oh yeah,
Goose, who's
yeah,
not even
because I
in it.
mean, when the movie was coming out, I was worried. I was like, "Oh man," like because we've seen what happens when they bring back these old stars for these movies for these cash grab. Linda Hamilton and Terminator: Dark Fate, whatever. Just so many times where you just wish they hadn't because it just feels like just bad and gross feeling. But absolute credit to Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie and obviously Joseph Kosinski for pulling it off and actually like knowing he needed to be in this movie even with his limitations because you can't just ignore him because making Iceman like his mentor was such a good idea.
It was, and it's done just so incredibly well.
Yeah, just with nothing but respect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they treat it with all the reverence that he deserves.
Yeah, but you
So
should with when you're bringing these characters back. Like, I don't get the deconstruction and the ripping down and oh, so and so wasn't great. It's like no, like
they were great
they were.
and
Yeah,
are.
yeah. Nothing's changed. People don't
Gosh.
stop. People don't become different human beings when they retire. Like, what are
Hmm.
we doing? Oh yeah, but that was so refreshing.
It was, and it means even more now because
Yeah,
yeah, just as of time we're recording this, just 2 days ago, lost Val, and pretty surprising. Because again, health wise, he was pretty much fine, uh, and has been since he beat the throat cancer.
which
But
nobody
I,
thought he would. I mean, that's tough to come back from what he did.
yeah, and he did. And so obviously we don't really know at this point much about any of it. We just know that died from pneumonia, which
Yeah.
it makes sense to me, especially when you have all that throat stuff. I can see how that could be a huge problem. Um,
Yeah, it's a big problem with a lot of cancer survivors. My dad almost died from pneumonia after his cancer, so it's
mm-hmm.
definitely something you gotta
Well,
worry
and
about.
throat cancer on top of it with all the, I
Exactly.
mean, you're dealing with
Yeah.
so much fluid and stuff when your throat's all plugged up. Like I could see that being even more of an
Yeah.
issue, but
Totally.
real
But yeah,
sad.
65. Yeah.
It was a shame too because this happened. It was on April 1st, and Sarah threw it out at that night, like when we were getting ready for bed. My wife threw that out, and I was like, "Oh no, that's an April Fool's prank." Like
Uh,
that, because every year they always do stuff like that. You'll see
oh
stuff like
sure.
that, April Fools. So I didn't really think anything of it. Then I don't know what made me look it up again. Uh, and then it was like, no, sure enough, he's gone.
Uh,
And that it hurts, man. That hurts because Val Kilmer is my favorite actor of all time.
yeah.
Um, Val
Top
Kilmer,
three.
Tom Cruise, uh, Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
probably top three for me. And but Val Kilmer's always been number one. And I don't remember the first time seeing Val Kilmer. I was trying to think about that earlier today. I don't remember. I know Prince of Egypt had to have been the first movie I saw with him in it, but
Yeah,
of
but you
course
didn't
that's
see him.
animated,
Yeah.
and so I honestly don't remember. It was either Batman, Tombstone, or Top Gun. It was one of those three. I know, but I
Yeah.
don't actually remember which one I saw first.
Hmm.
But it was seeing Real Genius is kind of what made me a huge Val Kilmer fan is when I saw Real Genius for the first time.
Okay.
Then paired with the others, but yeah, so that hurt. And both of us, we don't really give much of a care about celebrities for the most part.
Right.
Um, and I was telling this to one of my coworkers. There's only four that that have really affected me. Four celebrity deaths
Hmm.
that have affected me. And there's even some that I thought would affect me more. I mean, we lost Eddie Van Halen and Neil Peart, like big time musicians that are some of my favorites. But the four that affected me, the first one was Carrie Fisher. When Carrie
Okay.
Fisher died, that was real sad. Just a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah, of
And
course.
and then we lost Adam West
Yeah.
a few months after that. That one hurt because that was my first Batman. Even though for someone my age, that's not the Adam West Batman isn't typically their first Batman, but for me it
Right.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the first Batman movie I ever saw. Was
Mhm.
that one? So that one hurt. But again, that one was a little. I mean, Adam West was old, so it
Yeah,
was.
exactly.
Once you're in your 80s, it's a little different. But
Yeah.
that one still that one was sad. And of course the next year was Stan Lee, and that
Gosh,
one,
you're
and
right.
again mid 90s, of course, but
Right.
still that one hurt. And then now Val Kilmer, which
And
is
Kevin, yeah.
what'd you say?
And Kevin Conroy.
Oh, of course, yeah, duh, of
Yeah, yeah.
course, of course. Yeah, losing Kevin Conroy a few years ago, and then now losing Val Kilmer, and Ian. You know what that means? All three of the best Batmans are no longer with us.
I was just thinking that, man. We're losing all of our Batmans
We've
except
lost all
for
three, man,
yeah.
which is a
Gosh, man.
bummer.
It
Which is a
really
bummer.
is. Well, it's just like losing all the Batmans, and like now, watching Tombstone is like Bill Paxton's gone, Powers
Yeah.
Booth is gone,
Yep.
Tom Sizemore passed away a couple years
Yep.
ago.
Yeah.
Al Pacino's not long for this world, so yeah, it sucks to see all these giants, but especially with Kilmer, because yeah, obviously as we talked about, he was so underappreciated and held his own with the best of them, but never got the recognition he deserved, and now going out far too young, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah.
no way around it.
Nope. But he's a legend, and he's not people aren't forgetting these roles. These are going to live on forever. And
Yeah, and it's been great to see all these people who are just
cuz
finding excuses.
I have not seen a single negative or downplaying comment. Not one.
Exactly. All
Ev-
those rumors about him being difficult or mean to work with, every
mm-mm.
story I'm seeing is like, oh my God, he was such a nice guy and just an inspiration. Yeah.
Just a genius and
Yep.
just a master and all this stuff. It's been nothing but praise
Yeah. It's
and
been great.
admiration. And it's been really fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Really.
It,
That's the only thing good to come out of this is everyone just, you know, rediscovering how great he is.
yep, for sure. So rest in peace to the legend that is and was Val Kilmer, my favorite of all time, and I think the most underrated actor in history.
Easily. Yeah. This weekend is going to be nothing but Val Kilmer movies, man.
Weekend, man, it's gonna be longer than that. There's
Yeah.
more movies that'll fill a weekend to go through, but well, we get to do that, and again, that's one of the great things with both musicians and actors, more so than any other type of celebrity. Those are ones that you really get to continue to revisit, um, more so than others. So we always have that. We always
Yeah.
have those performances, and but definitely deserves its just due. So we had to pull out the podcast again after a long break. And again, I don't actually remember for sure, but the last time we talked might have been after Kevin Conroy died a few
It
years
might
ago.
have. Yeah.
I think we've talked before, but I think we talked after that. I think we've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
a couple episodes, but
But we did a whole show for Kevin Conroy.
yes,
And
of
so
course,
yeah,
had to,
yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
of course had to here for Val Kilmer.
No, of
So,
course.
any final thoughts here, Ian?
Ah, ah, not that I can think of. I just yeah, man. Uh, just one of my absolute favorite actors, and yeah, it helped a little bit that in a way that he hasn't been able to act for years now, but
Yeah,
the sting is still just as much as if he had passed away right after his kiss Bane Bane or something.
yeah. Nope, I completely agree. Completely agree. And yep, Val Kilmer, my favorite actor of all time. And he will be missed. He'll be missed by all of us. But
He's
go
in
and
good
watch
company.
go and watch Real Genius if you haven't watched it already.
Oh yeah,
Watch that, and that'll make you feel good.
yeah. Especially with how young he is.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking watching Top Secret the other day. I was just like, good gosh, this dude's a baby.
Yeah, it was great to see.
But yeah, rest in peace to the great Val Kilmer. All right, guys. Appreciate hanging out with us for a couple hours, just reminiscing about the greatness of Val Kilmer. Make sure and check us out. Give us a follow, give us a like. Always helps. Follow us on X at Uncaped Review. You can follow me at Marky Mark Brand.
You can follow me at Ian Bark.
Go ahead and do that as well, and follow us, of course, on YouTube. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Hopefully, with something a little bit more positive. Hopefully, we get
Yeah,
some cool
exactly.
Batman content coming, which we really haven't for quite a while. So
It'd be nice to have maybe something about the Batman too, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
yeah, apparently it's still happening, but well, we'll see. But
We'll see.
all right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you next time.